presentation. Northlands Coliseum was the scene of a Saturday night massacre as the Edmonton Oilers put 11 bucks into the Chicago net and drove Murray Bannerman from it. Charlie Huddy scoring twice for Edmonton. Tonight, Bob Pulford tries to rally his Chicago Blackhawks. Glenn Sather's Edmonton Oilers attempt to remain unbeaten in playoff competition. The tradition continues tonight on Hockey Night in Canada.
Live on CBC, Hockey Night in Canada. Brought to you by Molson, North America's oldest brewery with nearly 200 years of brewing excellence. Esso, with over 3,000 locations across Canada to serve you better. And by Ford of Canada, where quality is more than a commitment. Quality is job one.
Wouldn't have thought they were going to score 11 goals, but I guess you can lose the game 11-1 or 1-0, and really it's not going to matter. It's still a loss.
It was very interesting. Almost everything we shot went in. We don't expect that to happen again, but we're fortunate that it did.
Yes, it was an avalanche, and I'm hoping that's going to change tonight with a better effort from everybody.
It's got to intimidate them offensively, I think, from their point of view. They know that our players can score goals very easily when they get the chance, and they're going to have to tighten up a little bit.
I think we had a problem. We got too defensive, and we had 5 guys in front of our net, and they were getting point shots and scoring, and just as soon as that happened, everything seemed to go wrong.
Against Murray for Gray, scores!
Well, they did play a great game, and I think we let them play that well.
Back at the point, Charlie Huddy takes shot.
What we have to do is forget about game 1 and get ready to game 2 knowing that it's 0-0, and those 11 goals mean absolutely nothing now, because the second game, if we lose, completely eliminates what we did in game 1.
It's up to us to forget about it and come out in the second game with a new attitude and just think they're up 1 game, and it's going to be a long series.
Here's Gretzky in across the line, a drive and score!
We didn't play our best, and we're going to have to do that tonight, and we're a lot better covered than we showed in the first game. Mentally, I don't think we were prepared, but we should see a difference tonight's game.
I don't think we played better. We may have had times playing as good, but certainly everything was clicking, every shot was going in, and we don't expect to be that lucky again, which are like.
Welcome to the Northlands Coliseum in game number 2 of this Campbell Conference Final between the Edmonton Oilers and the Chicago Blackhawks. Good evening, everyone. I'm Dave Hodge. Everybody agrees the Blackhawks can play better than they did on Saturday, but it's far from unanimous they can lift their game far enough to get back into this series and make it a contest. Let's ask John Davidson what the Hawks plan to do to try to win tonight.
We had a lot of plans before game 1 too, Dave, and they didn't quite get the job done, but their plan tonight basically is the same type of plan that the Canadians used over in Europe when they beat the Russians in that recent tournament, and that's basically to employ what they call a 1-4 forechecking system. In other words, send one person deep and that's it. The other ones stay up high, and so in Edmonton, when they do come out, they're going to try and clog up the neutral zone between the 2 blue lines. Chicago are going to try and make it very messy for them, and they won't be able to come into that Chicago zone as a unit. That's basically their game plan. Whether they can slow the Edmonton club down or not, I'm not sure.
Well, the Oilers have seen just about everything over the years. I don't imagine when they see this they're going to eat their fingernails or anything. They will have something to combat it, won't they?
They certainly will. They're basically a speed hockey club. Chicago realizes that. Chicago know they're going to get in trouble if it becomes a speed-orientated hockey game. Chicago want to do their best to slow them down. Edmonton, they don't even worry about what the other teams do against them nowadays. A lot of teams, when they try to beat this Edmonton club, they try to clog up the middle of the ice. Edmonton go to the outside with guys with speed. They're just tough any way you look at it.
Blackhawks have been itching for a chance to wipe out the memory of that Saturday game, but the Oilers have been wanting to play again too. Playing as well as they are, they don't want to stop. The other series, known as the Prince of Wales Conference, continues with game number 2 tonight, and to update us on that one from Quebec City, here's Chris Cuthbert.
And Dave, the Philadelphia Flyers are trying to erase the memory of a Game 1 loss against the Quebec Nordiques on Sunday night at the Colisée. And after 2 periods of play tonight in Quebec City, it's the Flyers leading the Nordiques 3-0. They open the score with a shorthanded goal in the first period, and they take 3 chances at it. The puck goes wide. Murray Craven will dig it out in front to captain Dave Poulin for his first goal of the playoffs. And it was 1-0 after 1. Early in the second period, it will be Murray Craven with his first goal of the playoffs. A screen shot fools Mario Gosselin. And it was 2-0 until the final minute of the second period when Peter Zezel drops the puck to Ilkka Sinisalo, and his 4th goal of the Stanley Cup playoffs gives the Flyers a 3-0 lead after 2 periods of play. If there is bad news for Philadelphia, it's in the injury department. Tim Kerr did not play tonight, and Captain Poulin has not returned after leaving the game in the first period with a bad knee. Dave?
Chris, there's one lineup change to tell you about here tonight. It may or may not be significant. It is in the fact that Doug Wilson will dress for the Chicago Blackhawks, but we just don't know whether his pulled groin will allow him to make a real key contribution to this Blackhawk cause. Hockey Night in Canada and the Stanley Cup playoffs on CBC will return in just a moment.
I never liked thinking about life insurance. I want to think about living, not dying. It was my London life agent who showed me that life insurance can be something to look forward to. And my holiday here shows me this is going to be it. A financial package he called Freedom 55 will protect my family and help me retire back to this as early as age 55. Now, that won't be too hard to take.
London Life believes life insurance is also for the living. Ask us about Freedom 55.
Finally, someone's looking at life the way we do.
Hi, Harry, buy 15,000 silver.
19 gold. 27 oil.
35 gold. Harry!
I've got to buy Lotario.
Popular choice.
Ontario's favorite lottery. It's a great buy. Over 100,000 winners every week.
And all cash prizes.
And the jackpot keeps going up.
That's why I never forget to buy.
Oh, really? Who was that?
I don't know.
Can somebody out there tell me why Coke did it? Why they changed? First, they said they were the real thing. Then they said they were it. Then kablooey, they changed. So now, I'm going to try my first Pepsi. But I still want to know why Coke changed. Now I know why.
Pepsi, the choice of a new generation.
B.F. Goodrich, TA Radios, update. Car and Driver magazine called the B.F. Goodrich CompTA the best performing radial money can buy. Trucks deliver remarkable traction and performance with radial all-terrain TAs. All cars handle better with the B.F. Goodrich Advantage all-season TA. No matter what you drive, there's a TA radial for you. TA radials, now on sale at B.F. Goodrich tire centers and participating dealers.
Irresponsible speculation with other people's money.
What did Pioneer Trust do with millions in Western Canadian deposits? The Fifth Estate, Wednesday.
We're just moments away from the start of Game 2 of the Campbell Conference Final here at the Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton. And Gary Dornhofer, Dave Hodge alluded to the fact that Doug Wilson is returning to the Chicago lineup. You saw him skate this morning. You saw him in the pregame warm-up. How big a contribution can he make with that pulled groin?
Well, he looked a lot better today than he did yesterday, and of course his groin will be taped so that not to cause any further damage. And if he is effective, it'll be really on the power play. That's where he'll be utilized, and you know, you'll see the give and go with Savard and Wilson and then make the play to Larmer. If he's healthy and able to do the job, he will be quite a factor on that power play.
Many times you anticipate that a team getting bombed 11-2 in Game 1 of a series has to be demoralized, but there seems to be good spirit on the Blackhawks.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, one game does not make a series, but again, the Blackhawks, they have to get a contribution from 18 guys. Everybody has to do a job, and you heard John Davidson talk about the new system that the Blackhawks are going to do. So during regular play, by only sending one man in,
the Blackhawks are not going to get a lot of scoring chances. You're not going to generate any kind of offense. So that means that when the power play, when they do get a power play, that's where they have to score the goals.
You know, there's a definite contrast in the morning skate of these two teams. We watched Edmonton this morning, and they were absolutely flying. The Hawks at a much slower pace.
I think that's a little intimidation on the part of the Oilers. I remember when I played for Philadelphia, the Canadians used to really turn it on, and we were beat before the game even started. And I'm sure that they want to show the Blackhawks that they mean business, that they're going to be skating tonight. And it's best for the Blackhawks not even to watch the Oilers play, just go about their business, get mentally and physically prepared, ready to play the game when the puck is dropped.
What about the systems that the Blackhawks will attempt to employ? All sorts of systems and methods have been employed against the Oilers. Nothing seems to stop them. None of the other teams have had success.
Don, that's that maturity that we talk about. The Oilers, they can adjust to whatever they have to do. In game one, they didn't have to shoot the puck in because the Blackhawk defensemen kept backing in, so they could carry it in. Tonight, it's going to be a different story. They're going to be lined up. It'll force the Oilers to shoot that puck in, and now you're going to see some real good forechecking by the Edmonton Oilers. And they, like I say, they can adjust to anything that you throw at them.
Well, a lot of the critics condemned the Blackhawks for their performance in game one. But not many people really gave Edmonton the credit they certainly deserved, richly deserved, for their outstanding play. I thought the Oilers played as well in game one as I've seen them all year.
All facets of the game. You know, John Muckler, he separates three different areas on the ice: the offensive zone, the neutral zone, and the defensive zone. And they work very hard in those three areas, trying to contain, trying to slow down, and then to score in the offensive zone. And that's exactly what they're going to do tonight. And, you know, you can't tell a player to take it easy and save yourself for the next game, because that's when you normally get hurt. You go all out. You owe it to the fans right here in Edmonton to play the best type of hockey that you're capable of playing.
Well, there will be a change at the bench for the Chicago Blackhawks tonight. Cliff Coral goes upstairs. Roger Nielsen comes downstairs.
Might be a little superstition as far as the Blackhawks are concerned, because when the Blackhawks clinched the division title against Minnesota, Roger Nielsen was behind the bench. So a little change, it doesn't hurt, and I'm sure Roger will have a few interesting comments to make.
Well, Cliff Coral will be working, as we said, upstairs rather than behind the Chicago Blackhawk bench. Roger Nielsen will be down there, and Roger's assignment tonight basically will be to change defensemen while head coach Bob Pulford tries to match lines with the Edmonton Oilers. And right now we're ready for the playing of the American and Canadian national anthems, and to sing those national anthems, the Nylons.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red flare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Oh, Canada, our home and native land, to brave in love, in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land, Lord
stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Canada.
The Nylons and their rendition of the Canadian and American national anthems, and the referee for tonight's game is 33-year-old Sarnia, Ontario native Kerry Fraser, working with linesmen Swede Knox and Kevin Collins. And in goal, the Blackhawks will come back with Murray Bannerman, who yielded 7 goals before being pulled after 2 periods in Game 1. And Grant Fuhr, who has played all but 5 minutes in the Oilers' defense of the Stanley Cup, will again be in goal for Edmonton. From the face-off, it's dumped into the Edmonton zone. Lee Fogelin, who has more playoff experience than any other Oiler, is back there to feed it ahead to Kevin Lowe. To Glenn Anderson. Anderson shoots it in. Bannerman had a few problems with it. He juggled it a little before holding it for the face-off.
Well, one thing that's been positive about the Chicago Blackhawks is the attitude of Bob Pulford, their head coach, general manager. They watched the game films of game number 1. About halfway through, he said, that's enough. We've seen enough. Let's get out of here. Let's start thinking positive. Before the game, he was very quiet. There you can see the pressure on his face. He was with the Maple Leafs. He won 4 Stanley Cups for the Leafs in the 60s. He knows what it takes, and he's trying to employ that with his club tonight.
Al Secord is an individual the Blackhawks are counting on in this game tonight to provide some offensive punch. Secord is out there with Larmer and Savard. The puck shot in by Larmer. He attempted to catch up with it, couldn't quite reach it. Anderson with Messier. Anderson had it poked away from him, and back comes O'Callaghan for Chicago. For Larmer, he's with Secord, but Secord went offside.
Well, all eyes will be on Doug Wilson. He's taking a regular shift. And again, you know, with the 1-4 system that the Chicago Blackhawks will be using, with one man forechecking everybody else back, it's so very important for Doug Wilson and the rest of the defense to make sure that they challenge the Oilers right at center ice or between center ice and their own blue line, because that's where the flow starts, that's where the line rush takes place.
This is a matchup that Fulford was attempting to get. Troy Murray against Gretzky, and from that face-off, a drive by Bill Gardner that Fuhr kicked to the corner. Back comes Charlie Huddy. He and Paul Coffey have 29 scoring points in the playoffs. A shot knocked down in front of the net by DuPont. Dug out by Curry for Gretzky. Back to Curry. He couldn't get a shot away, and it's poked down the ice. Troy Murray racing after it. Murray having problems with Huddy. Huddy got back to steal it away.
You know, you see that a lot with Charlie Huddy. He doesn't get enough credit for it. He always is able to recover, mainly because of his skating ability. He's a very, very quick, powerful skater.
O'Callaghan picks it off at the line, and a rising drive off the glass, caroming all the way back to the neutral zone. We've played a minute and a half in this first period. It's still scoreless here at Northlands Coliseum. The Oilers winners of Game 1 by a score of 11-2. Gary Curry for Hunter. Hunter dumping it in behind the net. Paul Coffey is there. He was unable to center it. And going back after it is Bergevin. Bergevin attempted to play it around in the boards. It was knocked down by Gretzky. It bounces loose in front of the net again, and Troy Murray dumps it out to the neutral zone. There's Gretzky coming in for Hunter with a shot just wide.
There's another example of how Gretzky can hide. He was the last man coming back, and he just waited at the blue line, took that perfect pass.
Yarenchuk has it poked away by Randy Gregg. It goes loose in the center ice area, picked up now by Tom Lysiak. A shot along the ice steered to the boards by Grant Fuhr. Yarenchuk trying to poke it free for Sutter. Picked up by Melnick. He lost it, a backhand shot, and Fuhr got a piece of that. The Blackhawks much more aggressive so far in this first period than they were in Game 1. A drive by Hunter, and it's under the pads of Bannerman. Little shoving going on at the side of the Chicago Blackhawks net. but nothing serious is going to develop. Stanley Cup 85 on CBC is coming to you from Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton.
Now when the thirst starts, it's gonna take a beer with miles and miles of heart, and the beer you want is waiting for you. I like tasting fruit, yeah, taste that says hot from the start. Molson Light has got hot. Heart, this one's got it.
You know, fellas, we've talked about that 1-4 system so far in the first period. Lysiak's line didn't do it that much. They were much more aggressive. They had all three forwards in there.
Hozar trying to slip it in front for Pat Hughes. He couldn't get a shot away. Krushelnyski fighting in the corner, controlling that puck, trying to get it out front, drives it to the side of the net, and he's knocked off the puck, and back come the Blackhawks. Ludwig drives it in. Fraser was unable to pick it up off the boards. They battle for it in the center ice area. 3 Oilers in there to bump along the boards with Fraser. The puck goes loose, and it's dumped in by the Blackhawks. Lee Fogelin back into his own zone. He dodges the check from Fraser, and the pass from the left wing brings Kozar out of his own zone. In front, Krushelnyski with a quick shot, and Bannerman reacted to that one. Krushelnyski back to Hughes, to the line for Coffey, to the other side for Huddy. He was unable to get a shot away. He dumps it back at the net, and Jerome Dupont takes over for Chicago. 16:24 is the time remaining in period 1. Dennis Savard was tied up by Charlie Huddy. His weak shot is brought out by Paul Coffey. Dumped in by Messier in the corner, picked up by O'Callahan. Up along the boards, and it's cleared to center ice.
Well, you saw that last rush of Coffey. By the time he got over center ice, 4 Blackhawks were over top of that blue line, so Coffey simply had to shoot the puck in. It's exactly what the Blackhawks want.
Again, Coffey wheels out of his own zone. He has Anderson with him. Slides it over to Anderson. Coffey falls. Anderson got it out front, but Napier couldn't get a shot away. Anderson gets it again. He tried to set up Messier. It's intercepted. Back come the Hawks. 3-on-1. For Larmer, he takes a shot, and coming back was Charlie Huddy to make the save. What a move by Charlie Huddy as he got into the net to make the stick save with Fuhr out of position, and we've got a penalty coming up. Live on CBC, this is Hockey Night in Canada.
It's been quite a season, eh, guys? We've got a few awards to give out, but first, we better thank Esso. Pretty good-looking awards, aren't they? Now, the most sportsmanlike player medal goes to Billy Matthews.
When we see the look on their faces, we know why we do it. It's teaming up with you that makes us better, too.
You make us better, you do. Esso.
Al Secord gets the hooking call, and you know, you talk about good scoring chances that you have to capitalize. A 3-on-1 for the Blackhawks, and look at that save by Huddy as he digs it right out of the goal crease. And then as the Oilers are moving out of their own end, that's where Secord draws the hooking call. Oilers on the power play. There you see the hook on Anderson.
Now back to the live action with the Oilers enjoying a man advantage. Secord off. Krushelnyski drops it back into his own zone. Brought out slowly by Randy Gregg for Gretzky. Gretzky trying to set something up on the right side. Broken up at the line. Back to Gregg. He winds up the save. Loose puck at the side of the net. And finally the Blackhawks dump it to the boards, but not out. Well, it did slide out. Brought in offside by Randy Gregg. It was just fractionally over the line.
Well, Glenn Sather must have known something this morning, John, because he was practicing his line, shooting the puck in his own end or in the opposition end and going in after, doing the job of forechecking. So I'm sure he watched the same tapes, knew that the Blackhawks were backing in, they were allowed to carry it, and that Pulford would make adjustments.
Well, I think he's certainly seen a lot more intensity with the Blackhawks, and Glenn Sather and their coaching staff expected it simply because the Blackhawks have been much maligned the last few days in every facet of the press there is. Television, radio, in the newspapers. The Hawks were very, very upset with the fact that they're embarrassed more than anything. And they've been feisty. Ben Wilson was actually knocking people around in front of the net on that last flurry.
1:18, the time remaining in the penalty to Secord. That puck took an unusual bounce off the boards, and Murray Bannerman had to be sharp. Gretzky controlling it. He's looking for Curry. Curry's always in position to one-time it. Over to Lowe to Curry. He takes a swipe at it. It's held by Bannerman. Now with the Stanley Cup update, here's Chris Cuthbert.
The Nordiques are on the scoreboard at the Colisée in Quebec City with a power play goal and a somewhat controversial one. Watch the glove pass in front to Alain Lemieux. His shot is stopped, but J.F. Sauvé with the rebound, and it's now 3-1 Philadelphia.
One there, when Wilson's out there killing a penalty, all the Oilers know that he's struggling with that groin injury. I think they're going to work a lot of plays around him, see how healthy he is.
58 seconds remaining in the penalty. Huddy with a shot. It went off a leg. The puck goes to the corner, and it's cleared down the ice.
I'm not all that sure I would use Wilson killing penalties that much. I might try and save him for the point on the power play in case he does get re-injured.
Look at this man, Coffey across the line. It's dropped back to Huddy to the other side to Messier. He was unable to control it. Anderson takes the bump in the corner. Patterson cut in front of his own net, but he was able to clear it. Coffey fires it in. He didn't wait long enough. Two Oilers were offside.
Actually, what happened there, when Coffey shot the puck in, Bob Murray was holding up Glenn Anderson, and he held Anderson inside that blue line, and that's why the offside was created. But Chicago during game one did not do any of those types of plays. You can see already in this period that the Hawks are a lot more mentally aware of what's going on during the hockey game.
Well, you know, the Blackhawk players are talking about that. They said, you know, we were in awe of the Edmonton Oilers. We were watching them skate. We were watching them pass, shoot, and score goals. So I think that our pride is going to carry us a long way tonight. We're going to do the things that we do best, and they're giving an example of it so far.
25 seconds remaining in the penalty to Secord. 13:48 is the time left in period one. This is the second game of the Campbell Conference Final. The Oilers leading 1-0. Messier across ice.
Well, something that the Edmonton Oilers really work on is execution, puck control, making that puck do the work. You know, they don't give it away, always looking for that open man. And you saw Anderson getting into the open, and he was in a perfect position. As soon as it hit its stick, it's gonzo. Look at that puck go right in the net. Bannerman has no chance on that one.
You know what happened there, Gary? Basically, the Edmonton Oilers stayed wide on the play. Anderson stayed wide, got the puck because the Hawks all went towards the middle of the ice, including Gardner, and they weren't aware of who was wide. They took advantage of it again.
Messier and Coffey drawing assists. Murray with the shot, he scores! Bob Murray with a blast from just inside the blue line, and it's tied at 1.
Look at the enthusiasm on the Chicago bench, and you know what's very important for a team when you get a goal scored against you?
Oh boy.
Let's have a solid shift and really come back. But what it was a lot of good, solid forechecking in there by the Blackhawks, and look at Murray unload that one, and Fuhr got a piece of it.
Let's watch the collision with the goaltender in front of the net. Right there, Hunter had already taken out Grant Fuhr, and he couldn't recover, and he got back, and you're right, Gary, went off his goal stick. That's how quick Grant Fuhr is. He almost recovered to make the save. Murray did the right thing, didn't hold on to it, got rid of it quickly.
On the right side for Willie Lindstrom. On Sunday, he celebrated his 34th birthday. He's the oldest player on this Edmonton Oilers team. McClellan in the corner, taken in against the board. Lysiak and Yaremchuk assisting on the goal by Murray. It came just 13 seconds after Anderson had put Edmonton in front. Tonight's game on CBC is coming to you from Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton.
I will now predict the exact moment in time when every single one of you will enjoy the best tasting Coca-Cola ever. It will be the very moment that you pick up this can, because inside this can is the new taste of Coca-Cola. The best tasting Coca-Cola ever. You will taste the new taste immediately, and you will like it a lot. Now, if you're a Coke drinker, wait till you taste this one. If you're a Pepsi drinker, well, I predict we're going to be real friendly from here on in for a long, long time.
13:03, the time left in period one. The score tied at 1. Two quick goals, Anderson and Murray, just 13 seconds apart. Along the boards, Yaremchuk, who has figured in all 3 goals that the Blackhawks have scored in this series, much to the delight of his family who reside here in Edmonton. Now he starts out ahead to Sutter. Sutter behind his back for Lysiak. Lysiak, also an Alberta product, working to the corner. He's spun around, and it's dumped out into the neutral zone. Referee Kerry Fraser got tangled up there with the puck, and Willie Lindstrom along the boards, and finally they force a face-off.
You know, it's amazing what a leader can do for your hockey club, and Doug Wilson is just that. And just having him in the lineup has given the Hawks a lot. And then we have Bob Murray, of course. See how he didn't stop that puck? He knew Fuhrer was in trouble, so he just quickly shot it. And he got a lot of mustard, as they say in hockey, on that shot, and it caught the corner of the net quickly.
John, there's another reason that coaches always talk about, hey, we got to watch the point, especially the guys that can shoot it. A Wilson, a Murray, both excellent shots. Have to pay close attention to those 2 guys.
You know, you talk about Bob Murray. We rode out to the rink with Murray today, and he's suffering from the flu. Under normal circumstances, I don't think Murray would be in the lineup, but this is a playoff game, and the penalty is coming up against the Edmonton Oilers. So the Blackhawks will have a power play with Larry Melnick off. Stanley Cup 85 on CBC returns in a moment.
We've improved the new 85.5 Ford Escort in 30 different areas. We've improved it in the area of performance with quicker acceleration, in the area of fuel economy, making Escort one of the most fuel-efficient cars in Canada. We've improved it in just about every other area, too. Impressive for a car already the bestseller in this area. Now you can lease the 85.5 Ford Escort for as low as $145 a month. Have you driven the best-built North American cars? Have you driven a Ford lately?
Now, Larry Melnick has been a solid performer defensively for the Edmonton Oilers, and he's taken the job away from Don Jackson. Here he gets beat on the play and has to apply the hook. Hawks have a first opportunity on their power play.
Doug Wilson with a blast just wide from the point. Murray at the other side. Cross ice for Wilson. Wilson slides it in front, and attempting to deflect it was Al Secord. Now it's brought out by the Oilers, led by Messier. He got to the line and then dumped it back to Charlie Huddy.
John, the Oilers do have 5 shorthanded goals in the playoffs, and they got 1 in game 1 of this series as Curry scored a shorthanded goal. One thing about Edmonton, when they kill penalties, it makes the other team's power play very nervous.
Bob Murray back in his own zone, over for Doug Wilson. Wilson rink wide for Larmer. Larmer lost it at the line, and it's dumped down the ice by Mark Messier. 1:08 the time remaining in the penalty to Larry Melnick as the Blackhawks Larmer feeds it on the right side for Wilson. Wilson back to the line. A blast by O'Callahan, and Fuhrer out of his net. A screen shot that he knocked down. Bringing it back is Gretzky. Gretzky shoots, he fires it wide. He hung on to that puck until the last possible moment and just missed the far corner. Now Ben Wilson and Coffey in a bit of a mix-up at the blue line as the play is whistled down with 41 seconds remaining in the penalty to Melnick.
Good goaltending at both ends here early in this hockey game. Watch the scramble in front. Grant Fuhrer down to his butterfly to make the save. We'll see him go down. There's vintage Grant Fuhrer.
It's right up against the guy trying to apply the deflection.
Right. Now, at the other end of the ice, Ben Wilson had been trapped here because he tried to make a play. Nobody filled in for him. Watch Gretzky take advantage of the collision and actually ban him. And even though he didn't have to make the save there, he was out far enough to force Gretzky to shoot it wide.
You notice the Oilers using some crisscrossing patterns to kind of confuse the defense of the Chicago Blackhawks, and it paid off with Gretzky getting a good shot on net.
Jack O'Callahan and Ben Wilson. Jack O'Callahan, I should say, and Paul Coffey going off for penalties at the 8:57 mark. Wilson in the aftermath, I guess, of that incident as he and Coffey were exchanging words at the blue line, but it is Coffey and O'Callahan who have gone off. And 41 seconds still remain in the penalty to Larry Melnick.
You know, again, on the Chicago Blackhawks, when they get over the red line, they're going to fire that puck around the boards and then flood the opposite side to try to do some good forechecking and come up with that loose puck. We'll watch for that.
Troy Murray Feeds it to the corner. Back out front. Lysiak with a quick shot. It went off a body. Out front again, and Troy Murray couldn't get a shot away. Bob Murray thought he had kept it in at the line, but it was offside.
Not much of an argument, says Kevin Collins. The linesman was right on top of that play. Now, when that puck was shot in by the Hawks last time, Kevin Lowe got control of it. One forward for the Hawks went right to the boards on one side. Another one of the forwards went to the boards on the other side. Kevin Lowe tried to fire it around the boards. They intercepted and got 2 scoring chances out of it.
Brought in by Lysiak. His pass intercepted by Curry, who dumps it down the ice. 20 seconds remaining in the penalty to Larry Melnick. Doug Wilson chased by Gretzky back into his own zone. He drops it off for Bob Murray. He plays it up around the boards to the captain, Sutter. Darryl Sutter's attempted pass deflected off the stick and is dropped back into the Chicago zone as the penalty to Larry Melnick has expired. Doug Wilson now, rink wide for Larmer. Larmer on the fly hits Secord. Secord with a shot deflecting into the crowd.
Well, if the Chicago Blackhawks are going to be successful and get back in this series, a guy like Al Secord, his centerman Savard, and also Steve Larmer on the right side. This is a line that has carried them throughout the year. They all have the ability to score, move that puck around. And against the Edmonton Oilers, this is where the offense is going to come from, that scoring punch.
You could also see a little bit of gelling between Doug Wilson and Secord, as Secord parked himself in front of the net on that one power play, and Wilson hit him. It was almost deflected in, but give the Oilers credit. Good penalty killing as they killed that last one off.
Aggressive penalty killing. They went right after the Blackhawks.
Randy Gregg takes it back of his own net. We're approaching the midpoint of period 1 with the score tied at 1 here at Northlands Coliseum. Secord brings it in. He was trying to hit Jeff Larmer, cutting in on the right side. Intercepted by the Oilers. Brought out, and Anderson dumps it into the Chicago zone. Ben Wilson playing it around on the boards. Puck comes to the line and is poked out into the neutral zone.
Again, Don, you can see the matchup, Savard against Messier. Kind of a mismatch in size there, but that's what it appears both teams want as far as matchups go in this game.
Loose puck picked up by Jerome Dupont.
You know, the Blackhawks have broken up 6 or 7 plays already at their own blue line with those defense standing up.
Napier in across the line. He's taken in against the boards, and Savard comes out with the puck for Chicago. Savard fakes the shot. Between his legs for Murray, a long drive, and for a moment it looked as though it skipped and almost fooled Pure. Live on CBC, Stanley Cup 85.
Now when that thirst starts, it's gonna take a beer with miles and miles of heart, and the beer you want is waiting for you. A light tasting brew, yeah, taste that says hot from the start. Molson Light has got heart.
Heart! This one's got it!
The face-off to the left of Grant Pure. 9:06 remaining in this first period. Krushelnyski against Lysiak. Lysiak got the draw to Yaremchuk. His shot goes high to the corner. And it's dumped out to center ice. The Blackhawks Sutter shoots it in. Kevin Lowe up along the boards for Pozar. He clears it. The Blackhawks gain possession again and dump it back in. A long shot that Pure is forced to handle. Pozar will try it again. This time he succeeds in getting it out into the center ice area to Hughes, to Krushelnyski. Krushelnyski is taken in against the board. The puck goes to the other corner. Fogelin is pinched in from the point. He pokes it free behind the net. Krushelnyski trying to get it out as they jam away at it back of that Chicago goal. Finally, it's picked up by Krushelnyski. He slides it out front, and Bannerman dives way out of his net to hold it for a face-off. Hockey Night in Canada and the Stanley Cup playoffs. The tradition continues.
Light taste that says hot from the start. Molson Light has got heart.
Heart! This one's got it!
8:16, the time left in the first period. Blackhawks have outshot the Oilers 6-4 so far, playing a much more aggressive game tonight than in Game 1.
See Troy Murray out now against Gretzky. I know Chicago wanted that matchup. Glenn Sather will see how things go and then make changes if he has to as the game progresses. But Murray drives other people nuts. Yuri Curry almost took a two-hander at him during one of the earlier shifts of this period. He's one of those guys, as far as Edmonton's concerned, you can't let him get underneath your skin.
Troy Murray is another of the many Albertans on the roster of the Chicago Blackhawks. His parents live in St. Albert, and he spends time during the summer months in St. Albert. Racing into the corner is Gardner. He pokes it free. Here's a shot right on by Olczyk. And Pure made the save. It comes back to the point. Murray keeps it in.
This is the best line for Chicago to apply forechecking, and they're giving a good demonstration of it right here.
Olczyk dumps it back to the net. Coffey for Edmonton, starting now out of his own zone. On the right side for Curry, a drive right on. Bannerman makes the save with Semenko looking for the rebound. And now there's a mix-up back of the net.
Well, I'm not sure which one of the Hawks it was, but he took Coffey right into the boards to follow up the play. Looks like O'Callaghan. Coffey came back at O'Callaghan and knocked him off balance, but Chicago making sure they're taking people right out of the play.
Now with a Stanley Cup update, here's Chris Cuthbert.
In Quebec City, the Flyers have restored their 3-goal lead on Joe Patterson's first goal of the playoffs as he moves in and beats Mario Gosselin on the backhand. It's 4-1 midway through the third.
Patterson and Craven, not a bad deal. Those youngsters are playing pretty well in that Sittler trade.
John, you made a good point about taking the man out, finishing the check. You know, that's what coaches talk about all the time. You got to take the guy in the corner, pin him there, not let him get back in the play.
Well, Gary, a lot of that had to do with the forwards coming deep with those Edmonton wingers, but when that happens, it also leaves those Edmonton point men, those defensemen, wide open. And you can bet that Edmonton's going to start picking up on that and start using their defensemen for shots.
7:39 remaining in period 1. Gardner against Gretzky. Gretzky chases it to the board. Outside to Curry, scores!
Well, that's vintage Gretzky-Curry. You know, they're so familiar with each other, and Curry has a way of getting away from everybody. You notice everybody is attracted to the puck carrier. You know, who watches the slot? Because he's watching Gretzky.
You know, from the faceoff, actually Gardner took the faceoff because Murray got thrown out. And that was the big play, I think, on that goal. And then Gretzky, of course, you're right, took advantage of it. Semenko causing traffic in front. But as soon as you saw Troy Murray get thrown out, Gardner had to take it. That made it tough.
And is there anybody who won times it better than Yari?
Oh, boy. Oof.
Curry's ninth of the playoffs from Gretzky at 12:26 as the Oilers now have a 2-1 lead. Gardner across the line looking for Troy Murray. It slides through the corner, and it's brought out by Gretzky. He has Semenko and Curry with him as Semenko now goes to the bench. Hunter comes out there, takes the pass, the shot goes wide. Gretzky into the slot for Hunter, over for Curry. Curry with the shot. Bannerman out of the net for the save. Hunter trying to get into position. Takes the shot, save Bannerman, and he hangs on.
And look at Doug Wilson, how slow he's getting up right in front of Murray Bannerman. He's in a lot of pain. He's trying to skate it off. He has that groin, or that upper thigh pull, all taped up. He skated warm-up, and that's when they made their decision. But they were going to see how Doug Wilson went early in the game. Watch how Curry positions himself so well in this goal. Gretzky has everybody chasing him. Now, when the pass goes in front, watch Semenko right in front of the goaltender. There you can see the pick, and that's why Curry got the puck and had the open side to put it in.
You know, what's very important in the game is that you don't watch the puck. You look at the man, and you notice how Hunter took advantage of that with Murray being attracted to that puck, and so consequently, Hunter had a good shot on net.
Messier trying to center it. It hit a skate and is picked up by Patterson with 6:37 remaining in the first period. 2-1, the Oilers in front. Melnick, a shot from the point. It's knocked down and brought out by Wilson. His pass on the right side is too far for Fraser. It slides back into Chicago territory, and Randy Gregg feeds it on the right side for Glenn Anderson. For Messier. Messier, a shot. Just misses the far corner. Melnick winds up with a drive. Knocked down. Messier gets it. They bang away at it. The puck is loose. And finally it's gloved out to the line. Gregg with a shot. And the net is off its mooring.
and reached back with his arm and took a sure goal away from the Oilers. Oilers are starting to roll in this first period.
Nice lawn tractor, isn't it? Of course, my neighbor said to get a John Deere. They're built to last. They've got heavy-duty frames, heavy-duty engines, heavy-duty transmissions. But hey, I saved a bundle on this baby, and after all, that's the bottom line, huh? Not to worry. Once it starts, it runs like a...
Nothing runs like a deer.
Down-to-earth values spring celebration on now at participating John Deere dealers.
6:03 is the time left in the first period. The face-off to the left of Murray Bannerman. The Oilers came very close to making it a 3-1 game. Messier had a great opportunity with Bannerman down. Now O'Callahan working out of his own zone for Dennis Savard. Savard crosses the line, looking for someone to pass to. Still has it. Drops it for Doug Wilson. A shot, a high drive, and knocked down by Grant Fuhr. Fuhr turned to sent sprawling by Steve Larmer. Good check in the center ice area as Anderson is hit by O'Callahan. And then Larmer dodges the check from Melnick.
Well, there's been more checking and hitting in this hockey game already than there was in game one. All told, it's kind of fun to watch. Both teams playing with a lot of intensity, and this could really heat up.
Dennis Savard racing in against Grant Fuhr. It's played along the boards for Messier. He's having problems getting out against Secord. He goes to the other side.
And twice in the last minute or so, they've gone at Grant Fuhr. They've knocked him over once, and Grant Fuhr just waved a little bit his stick at Savard. Maybe the Hawks are going to try and get at Grant Fuhr that way.
Murray, who scored the Chicago goal, drives it in. Fogelin behind his back to Kevin Lowe. Ahead for Hunter. Hunter on the right side to Lindstrom. Lindstrom trying to go around Bergevin. Slides it out front, and it's deflected by Yaremchuk. Yaremchuk has his pass intercepted, but McCullough couldn't go anywhere with it, and back comes Daryl Sutter. Sutter was working against Kevin Lowe. He tried to center it, nobody in position. Now Lysiak with a long drive, knocked down in front by Kevin Lowe.
To this point, Kerry Fraser seems to be letting a lot of different holding and clutching, grabbing situations go. Both teams are starting to employ that tactic quite a bit.
A two-line pass produces the whistle with 4:23 left in the period.
Now there's Kerry Fraser, considered to be one of the best officials in the National Hockey League, and one thing that he will do, as long as he has control of the game, he'll just let them go. But Murray Bannerman has been very busy as the Oilers have had some excellent shots against them. And here's an example of what takes place around that goal. Shot after shot, the concentration has to be tremendous.
Watch his left arm here. I believe a second later he ended up robbing Messier again, but Messier is dangerous with that wrist shot. He's so darn strong, and he can shoot it from that opposite wing. Boy, he's got the real quick shot.
Fired in wide of the net. Huddy picks it up and tries to clear it, but it goes over the glass and out of play.
You know, you have to hand it to Bob Fulford. After that humiliating loss in game one, he called a team meeting for about an hour. He met with all the players. Everybody had an opportunity of voicing their opinion. What went wrong? Well, everything went wrong. But at least he asked all the players, give their opinion, how we're going to play the Oilers. But then Bob Fulford still has to make the final decision. But I think that's the way you get that team spirit going and get that togetherness that's so vital in the playoff series.
Well, when you have to stand up and state your mind in front of everybody else, it's pretty honest.
Bergevin with a shot. Fraser knocks it down in front and fired it into the pads of Grant Fuhr.
Grant Fuhr, who is feeling 100% as far as health goes. He played in all the games in the playoffs for the Edmonton Oilers. He again used his quickness and is improving year by year in covering up rebounds. Here we can see the deflection, but watch how he moves across and he covers it up. Seems to pull the puck back into him. Covers it up. Good checking in front of the net, too. Now, Fraser had the scoring chance there. He's still playing in a lot of pain. Yes, he is. Still wearing that flak jacket, getting frozen up and trying to kill the pain as much as possible. Give him a lot of credit.
Puck goes back of the net. Picked up there by Huddy. Huddy is checked. Fraser has it. He centered it. Nobody in position. Patterson dumps it back in behind the goal. Huddy, who appears to be all over the ice tonight, fires it out to the center ice area.
What the Blackhawks are doing now is they're forcing the Oilers to fire that puck around the boards. And what a great opportunity for the Blackhawks defense to pinch in and perhaps break up a few plays. So I'm sure Bob Pulford will try to use that system as much as possible.
Some guys have it, some guys don't. You want to call it something? Call it the edge. Men in Speed Stick deodorant can give you the edge because it's the wide stick. It gives you man-sized odor protection all day that goes on dry in just a few strokes, which is why it's Canada's #1 deodorant. Some guys have it. Let the wide stick give you the edge. Speed Stick deodorant by Menon.
3:33, the time left in the first. The face-off to the right of Grant Fuhr. Messier will be facing off against Gardner. Anderson and Curry have scored for the Oilers, and Bob Murray has the Chicago goal. Jerome Dupont keeps it in. Now it's Charlie Huddy back of his own net. He has had an outstanding playoff series. For Paul Coffey to Curry. Curry trying to control it at the line. Finally has it poked away, and it's picked up by Gardner. On the wing for Troy Murray. Murray with a shot high and off the glass. Krushelnyski brings it out into the center ice area, having problems trying to get away from Olczyk. Then Paul Coffey comes back to pick up the loose puck. Coffey in across the line, lost control of it, and Gardner coming back for the Hawks, gains possession, unable to clear, but now it's picked up by Jack O'Callahan for Olczyk. Olczyk, the rookie, on the left side, too far for Murray, and the Blackhawks make a change. Coffey, rink-wide pass for Curry. He dumps it in. Going to the corner after it is O'Callahan. Kept in at the line by Randy Gregg. A shot with Bannerman screen. He didn't see it, and it slid wide. Another drive knocked down in front, but a penalty, a slashing call is coming up against Chicago.
And it was great to watch that last shift as Troy Murray stayed on the ice as long as Wayne Gretzky did. Gretzky stays on for a long time generally. Troy Murray's line went off to make a line change. Murray stayed on the ice with Gretzky. Gretzky at the end of his shift started to hide behind the net. That's the only place he could get away from Murray.
Well, there's a penalty coming up to O'Callahan as they used a two-hander against Jari Kurri, so the Oilers will have their second power play of the evening. It's a slashing call against O'Callahan.
Very important time of the period with just 2:18 left. Now, we were talking about Gretzky being saddled. Watch Murray with him as Gretzky's trying to get in the open. He's not even near the puck. Murray's just staying right with him. That's a blanket job. That's at center ice. And all Gretzky does is sit back and watch what happens. And at the end of the shift, Gretzky tried to get away from Murray by hiding behind Murray Bannerman behind the goal. It was interesting to watch.
Well, what Gretzky will do then is if he has somebody shadowing him, he'll go and stand beside another Blackhawk. So now you got two guys watching.
Exactly.
And when Coffey sees that, there's the explosion to take place. But that's exactly what the LA King and Pat Quinn, the coach, did with Gretzky. They had Sykes following him wherever he went.
Kevin Lowe. Cross ice for Randy Gregg. Try and slide it in the corner for Mark Napier. Comes back to the line now. Gregg with a shot. Save. Napier to the side of the net to Messier. Messier was unable to get a shot away. Back to the point to Kevin Lowe. Lowe for Anderson. Back of the net. Messier and Bannerman battled for it. Bannerman took a swipe at it, but was unable to move it around the board. Messier looking, cross ice for Anderson. It bounced over his stick, back to the point for Lowe, and he fires it to the corner again with 1:17 left in the penalty. Mark Messier, back to Kevin Lowe. He winds up the save by Bannerman. Lowe gets it again, another shot is wide. And finally, Gardner off the boards, clears it.
You know, all this took place because Ben Wilson had an opportunity to ice it. He was very nonchalant, and the Oilers intercepted and applied all that pressure. Boy, when you got the chance to shoot that puck down, you do it as hard as you can.
And let's talk about the style of Murray Bannerman. He just kicks that puck out. He's making what you could call kick saves in that goal. Watch how he moves out his stick and his left leg. See how he kicked that puck out of harm's way? That's a real good save in that situation. He knew Napier was coming in. The next one went wide, but he he does that a lot, and I think his defensemen are aware of that fact, and I'm sure the Oilers are in the scouting reports. He kicked it back, and that time actually into traffic a little bit too, but that's the style of Murray Bannerman.
It's good as long as you kick and not miss, eh?
That's a good point.
Paul Coffey drives it in with 46 seconds remaining in the penalty, and then it's dumped down the ice by Chicago as we move into the final minute of this opening period with Edmonton in front of the Hawks by a score of 2-1. Here comes Gretzky leading the attack on the power play. He dumps it to the corner. Curry and Ludwig race in there. The Chicago player got to it first, and he comes back for the Hawks. A long shot that is deflected up against the glass. Curry chased back into his own zone with 14 seconds remaining in the penalty, 30 seconds in the period. Curry drops it at the line for Gretzky. Gretzky looking back to the point for Coffey. Now slides it in front, and Curry was looking for that deflection. The Blackhawks are back at full strength. In the center ice area with 10 seconds left in the period, Gardner in across the Edmonton line, waiting for Secord to catch up with the play. Now back to the line for Dupont. Dupont tried to center it, knocked down by Willie Lindstrom as the siren sounds to end period 1. And the score at the end of the first period is Edmonton 2, Chicago 1. Stay tuned for our first intermission.
You got everything for the big pitch in Pittsburgh, Pete?
Yeah, I got it all, Paul.
Got the slides?
Yeah, I got the slides.
Got the charts?
Yeah, I got the charts.
You got the audio?
Yeah, I got the audio.
You got the video?
Yeah, I got the video.
Don't forget the contracts.
I won't forget the contracts. I forgot the contracts.
You forgot the contracts.
When you forget, remember Federal Express. They guarantee overnight delivery to the U.S. by 10:30 a.m. or you don't pay.
You got the contracts?
Yeah, I got the contracts.
In times past, only the wealthy could afford a 4-head cable-ready VCR with multi-event programming and a dockable remote control with channel change. However, JVC has just announced a breakthrough in top-quality video, the new HRD 150, a remarkable VCR for practically everyone at an extremely remarkable price. The HRD 150 from JVC.
Are you sure about this?
Ask me later.
I don't know. This bridge looks rotted out. It's going! We made it! But the muffler didn't.
Oh, man.
We're taking a big chance with this load.
Here's where we don't take chances.
I like the way you do things.
Yeah, these guys know their stuff.
And here's your guarantee. Looks like we're gonna make it. I know the muffler will.
Well, sometimes you take chances, but not when you need a muffler job.
At Black's, you can save money on your color prints. When you choose Black's processing included film, you get quality fine-grained color film and Black's bigger, better color prints. All included for one low price.
Martin?
Oh, yes. It's a super way to save money because your color prints are included when you buy this film. Black's film with color prints included. It's their best deal. Am I right? Yes, I'm right. And one more way.
Black's is photography.
He scored for the Oilers. In between it was Bob Murray for the Chicago Blackhawks. Edmonton's lead is 2-1 on the scoreboard, 12-10 in terms of shots on goal. With me now is the captain of the Hawks, Darryl Sutter. It is an honor to be captain, also at times a duty, and I guess you are quite tired about being the spokesman for this team following Saturday's game, but you've done a nice job. Must be tough, though.
Well, it is a tough thing. You know, fortunately, it's the first game, and there is another game, and that's what you look ahead to. You know, I wish we could have come out and played again the next night, and you know, because you can always correct yourself. And you know, we got to remember that we're in the semifinals, and we're one of 4 teams still here. And you know, as long as you can never complain about your effort, you know, you'll never be dissatisfied.
The first period of this game was, I think you'll agree, better than any period of game number 1. Yet you're still behind. What have you tried to do differently tonight?
Well, the coaches have tried to match lines a little bit and have Troy Murray out against Gretzky all the time, and we just tried to be a little bit more aggressive and try and finish our checks a little more and not worry about, you know, always worrying about the Oilers. Let's worry about Chicago and, you know, do what we did to get here, and let's try and play well.
Is there a tendency to be awestruck when you're playing this team? I mean, no matter how you tell yourself that you have a chance and that this team can be beaten, you also got to sit there and say they are awfully good.
Yeah, definitely. You know, and it's a collective thing. You know, if you get one guy out of 5 on the ice thinking like that, you're in trouble because they are, you know, they're too strong. And you know, we got to, like I said, we got to have everybody playing well all the time. We can't let up for even a few minutes.
Are you physically tired, do you feel, after the Minnesota series?
Well, you know, should never use anything like that as an excuse. We have Dougie back tonight, and then we lost Keith Brown. So, you know, that's the physical part of it. You know, I think the little bumps and bruises, heck, this time of year, the mental part should take right over in those situations. So I don't think we can talk about being tired at all.
On a family note, how does it feel to be playing longer than Brent and Dwayne for a change?
Well, it is quite a change, you know. I felt sorry for them, but they've been there long enough. It's time to pass it on, I think.
Okay, well, good luck to Darryl Sutter and the Chicago Blackhawks, who are 1 goal better now than they were after 1 period in game number 1. Coming up next, we'll look at the Edmonton Oilers and the respect, or lack of same, which they seem to get. Hockey Night in Canada and the Stanley Cup playoffs on CBC return in just a moment.
Ford's got the best sales increase of the big 3. Starting at Oakville, if we lined up all of our new vehicles sold in Toronto this year, you'd be looking at an impressive lineup that stretches right along Bloor Street, over the viaduct, right through Toronto, through Oshawa, and far beyond. Toronto now get Ford's 5-year DuraGuard warranty on all our 85 cars.
Toronto, we can't be outdone. At Ford, quality is job one.
Thunderbird, I'm a believer.
Some copiers don't adjust for exposure. Some don't adjust for odd-size originals. Some give you copies after they've run out of toner. But the new Sharp SF8200 Zoom copier automatically adjusts for exposure, paper size, and it turns off when it's out of toner. The Sharp SF8200 Zoom copier. It won't turn your work into garbage. From sharp minds come sharp products.
Cooper has always given you the best protection in hockey. Now we've got you covered right down to the ankles. Introducing new Cooper Ruse skates with our exclusive Cooper Comfort Wedge. It supports and locks your heel and ankle into place for a long-lasting, comfortable fit. Because better fit means better skating power and control with every stride. Ask for Cooper Ruse with the Cooper Comfort Wedge. The world plays hockey with Cooper.
The Quebec Nordiques scored a goal in the dying seconds at the Colisée. Mark Kuppel will score his second of the playoffs. Number 17 knocks it by Pelle Lindbergh. But Philadelphia wins 4-2, and the series is now tied 1-1. The Chicago Blackhawks are trying to do the same in the Campbell Conference Final. They lost 11-2 in game number 1. Everybody talked about the Hawks playing poorly, but the Oilers played awfully well.
You are an offense. Why, you can barely walk erect.
For Rodney Dangerfield, respect is hard to get.
I'll see you later, and I'm sure you're going to talk about me when I'm gone.
And for Glenn Sather and his Edmonton Oilers, it's even harder to get. The fact they've been a dominant force in the NHL for 4 seasons doesn't seem to make that respect come any easier.
I think it starts with Glenn Sather. Not many people like him. Not many people give him credit for building the hockey team. You know, the owner got him Gretzky, and the scouts got him Anderson and Messier and Coffey and Fuhrer. And all that Sather has done is put together a pretty good hockey team based on about 6 stars. And nobody wants to give him any credit for that, and I think it starts there.
With all due respect to the city of Edmonton, it is not a media hub such as Toronto, such as Chicago or New York. I think that's part of it. The other part of it, unwittingly, maybe a lot of us think of Gretzky being the Oilers, when in fact there's an awful lot of talent on the team besides Gretzky.
Well, I think the only way that you can get respect is by winning championships, and last year we were able to do that. I would imagine that would get us some respect.
I think it does now. I think a couple of years ago, I think they were regarded as cocky, brash, a bit of a pain in the neck, perhaps, because they sang on the bench. They booed the LA power play 3 years ago, but I think they've grown up quite a lot. And I think once you win the Stanley Cup, you get respect, and if they don't have it now when they win again, which is a great possibility in a month's time or 3 weeks, they'll get that respect they deserve.
I think in one area I'd like to see us get a little more respect, and I think we've improved on it considerably for our defensive play. A lot of people accuse us of being a total offensive hockey club who can't really control a lead. When we do get a lead, we can give up a lot of goals in our end zone. I think that we've improved considerably, and probably that's the most improvement we've made on this hockey club in the last 3 years is our defensive play.
A goaltender playing on a team that scores 400 goals a year will never get the respect he deserves, and I think as long as Grant Fuhr plays for the Oilers, they'll never think he's that good a goalie.
Wayne Gretzky has been the team leader since the Oilers joined the NHL. His popularity and domination can leave some people believing the Oilers are a one-man team.
It simply isn't so, and people that say that are casual, peripheral hockey fans at best. That's like saying that Wayne Gretzky's out there in a glitter suit scoring all these goals, and 20 other guys are standing behind him snapping their fingers going doo-wah, doo-wah.
They're lucky that Gretzky's on their team. If he wasn't on their team, they wouldn't be winning Stanley Cups, but I think as long as he's here, he casts a very large shadow.
The people who don't respect the Oilers are the same people who might have to label them a dynasty along the lines of the Canadiens and the Islanders, a label which they seem to be on the verge of inheriting.
In fact, I think if they win one more, they might win more than anybody because all of their players are getting into their prime.
In time, they will probably be regarded as one of the better teams, perhaps, of all time.
When we were in New York, we thought we were a dynasty. That was for other people to say. And when you're on a team, you don't worry about being a dynasty. You win as much as you can and leave the other people to call you dynasties. A dynasty is really a special term. The Islander team, we're learning more and more as we go through the season. We're really a special team. To win 4 Stanley Cups in a row, to go through the problems they had during the season and yet come up big in the playoffs, really is a quality that not many teams have.
Oh, to be regarded as the Islanders do as the Islanders did.
The best way to judge the Edmonton Oilers in this playoff year is to realize that any team that hopes to beat them in a series must first beat them in a game. We'll review Philadelphia's victory over Quebec in the Wales Conference Final as Hockey Night in Canada on CBC returns in just a moment.
The West, it was ugly. I smell shit.
All right, that'll be enough of that talk. Want to be a sidekick, you gotta learn the ropes.
And low down mean.
Very good.
Thank you very much. But at least you knew where you stood.
Either you get your rifle and come with me, or I'll shoot your wife in the shoulder.
From the director of Police Academy, Tom Berenger in Rustler's Rhapsody.
The simple screwdriver does not always lead the simple life. That's why Canadian Tire sells Mastercraft screwdrivers. And we're so sure Mastercraft brand screwdrivers are made to last, they're guaranteed forever. Just like all our Mastercraft tools. And nobody guarantees tools for longer than that.
Max, you've got to leave these tools alone. Max, you put a scratch in it.
Mastercraft tools from Canadian Tire. They're guaranteed forever.
Oilers 2 and the Chicago Blackhawks 1. After one period of game number 2, there is a lot of talk, let's face it, about a 4-game sweep for the Oilers. There will not be a 4-game sweep for the Quebec Nordiques, Chris.
I think the Flyers played tonight the way everybody expected they were going to play on Sunday. A little more speed in their game, a little more aggressive play on both sides, but the Flyers were the better hockey club tonight and deserving 4-2 winners.
The old story about getting one game in the other team's building and taking a tie back to their building, which has been the toughest for an opponent to win in all season.
It's nice for the Flyers. They haven't lost at the Spectrum in 20 games, so they're in good shape as they head back to Philadelphia for game number 3. They got off to a good start tonight thanks to a short-handed goal. Murray Craven has a couple of opportunities here. They can't get it by Mario Gosselin the first time, but Craven gets it back out in front to captain Dave Poulin, who scores his first of the playoffs. And it was 1-0 after one. Early in the second period, it will be Murray Craven, the first star of tonight's game, with the shot there. Looked like a screen as Peter Zezel was between goaltender Gosselin, and it was 2-0 until the final minute of period number 2, when Zezel drops it to Ilka Sinisalo, and his fourth of the playoffs made it 3-0 after 2 periods. In the third, Quebec with a brief rally, and a goal coming up here, controversial. The hand pass to Alain Lemieux, who was stopped, but J.F. Sauvé scores his fourth, and that made it 3-1 Philadelphia. This was really the clincher as far as Philadelphia is concerned. Joe Patterson moves in and on the backhand scores his first of the playoffs, and that made it 4-1 until the dying seconds of the game, with 19 seconds to be exact. Mark Kumpel scores his second, and it finishes 4-2.
Tim Kerr didn't play for Philadelphia, and Dave Poulin didn't play much after he scored his goal. Attrition is a factor in any Stanley Cup year, and the Flyers cannot be too happy with the way 2 key players have gone out of the lineup.
Although they did beat Quebec tonight without Kerr and Poulin for the most part.
That series goes back to Philadelphia. Our series continues with Game 2 here at the Northlands Coliseum. Period 2 shortly. Live on CBC, this is Hockey Night in Canada and the Stanley Cup playoffs.
BF Goodrich, TA Radios, update for enthusiasts. Subject, truck performance, traction. That's what trucks get with the rugged BF Goodrich Radial Mud Terrain TA. Durability, on, road, and off with the Radial All-Terrain TA. Last season, BF Goodrich took more off-road wins in more classes, more than any other tire company. TA Radios, now on sale at BF Goodrich Tire Centers and participating dealers.
At Esso, we're an energy company. But saying so isn't enough. We've got to show you energy and enthusiasm. With ongoing research that pushes gasoline performance further ahead. To change as your gasoline needs change. And with good, friendly service. You've come to expect more energy from a company like Esso. And because you do, we're getting better.
My competitive edge, customer service nationwide through telemarketing.
Glad to be of help.
It's that simple.
Here, Chief.
Customer service? Your filbert flange won't mesh with your grapple grommet. No problem. Lumley. See, a satisfied customer is a repeat customer.
You're welcome.
We make grapple grommets.
23,000 a day.
Awesome.
Telemarketing, today's way to operate.
Of all the great beers brewed in this country, nothing's ever come close to the taste of export.
So going down easy, looking and tasting just right.
Hey, you remember last year when we went ice fishing? Yeah. Never again. Hey, I got a bite. That was frostbite. Yeah. It wasn't frostbite. Sure you never come out.
You keep on drinking your export, cause it keeps on tasting great.
Wayne Gretzky, Belinda Metz, Leona Boyd, and Chet Atkins join host Rich Little for a celebration of excellence. The NHL Awards, June 12th.
The Hockey Night in Canada tradition in this Campbell Conference Final will continue Thursday when the series shifts to Chicago Stadium for game number 3. Join us on Hockey Night in Canada at 6:30 Mountain Time, 8:30 Eastern Time, game number 3 in the Clarence Campbell Conference Final between Edmonton and Chicago.
Well, the Blackhawks would certainly like to win here at Edmonton before they'd return home, and the Oilers lead by 1. A close checking affair by the Blackhawks. They have to try to shut them down, but the next goal by Edmonton, what does that do to the Blackhawks system?
I think if Edmonton does get that next goal, that so-called 1-4 system that they used pretty much that first period, Gary, will go right out the window simply because they're going to have to start to open up a little bit, and that would certainly put things in Edmonton's favor. But the Oilers, they did have control of the puck much more so than the Hawks did, but not quite as much as they did in the first game. So I think basically the Hawks, even though they're down a goal, it may be a moral victory for them.
I'm sure that they're encouraged by what happened in that first period, and it should come out a little stronger. You know, that system that they're using, they only use the 1-4 when the Oilers have good control. They don't change or chase the guy behind the net, and I think they have to keep going that way.
I think so too, Gary. I think the other thing we have to watch for, that we watched and saw quite a bit during that first period, was the fact that whenever Edmonton got the puck and they tried to get it out of their own zone, they fired it around the boards a lot. Chicago anticipated that and tried to get onto the boards and get control of the puck. Something interesting to watch for in a second.
Absolutely. Let's go to Don Whitman.
Glenn Anderson started the scoring in Game 1. He started it here in Game 2. 13 seconds later, Bob Murray tied it up. Gary Curry with the go-ahead goal. The Oilers out shooting the Hawks by a 12-10 margin. And in that first period, there were 5 minor penalties, 3 to the Chicago Blackhawks and 2 to Edmonton.
In the late 70s, there was no question about which club was the best in the NHL. Tonight on Hockey Legends, I'll talk about the 4-time champion Montreal Canadiens with Serge Savard. Join me in the second intermission.
And Game 3 of this series, Thursday night at Chicago Stadium. Game 4 in Chicago on Sunday. And should the series go to a 5th game, they'll be back here 1 week from tonight at Northlands Coliseum. Murray Bannerman against Grant Fuhr. Fuhr, a spectacular performer so far in the playoffs. Many people are already suggesting that either Grant Fuhr or Paul Coffey are the leading candidates for the Conn Smythe Award as the outstanding playoff performer. Murray Bannerman has definitely had some problems with the Edmonton Oilers. Prior to tonight's game, in 8 games against Edmonton, he has given up 57 goals. Well, that's an average of just over 7 goals per game. And that's how many he yielded before giving way to Skordensky to start the 3rd period on Saturday night. Messier to Anderson, a drive, that hit Bannerman. He's hurt. What a wicked blast by Anderson from the slot. And Murray Bannerman, I think, caught it right on the forehead.
Well, it appeared, Don, as if it was high off the forehead area, and watching where the puck went after, it sort of ricocheted off. He's moving now. Those fiberglass masks, you don't see very many of them in the league anymore. Both goaltenders starting here tonight wear them, Grant Fuhr and Murray Bannerman, but there's not much padding inside of that fiberglass mask. It's made by a mold right to your face, and you can wear a little bit of padding on the inside, a little bit of foam. Not many goaltenders wear any at all in there, hardly. I know Grant Fuhr has 2 little wee tiny strips inside his, and basically all that is fiberglass flush against your face. Now watch as the puck hits his forehead, where it goes, ricocheted off to the left. That was a pretty good collision between the forehead and the puck itself, but those fiberglass masks, everybody thinks, oh, I got him in the mask, he's all right. Not that much protection with a mask like that.
And the reason that we're seeing so much more of this, John, is the quickness that players release that puck. You know, when that puck came to Anderson in one motion, it was on the net and at him. And there is the backup for tonight's game, Skordensky, and he's wondering, what if?
Now there's a situation here. If Bannerman is unable to continue, he appears to be getting up slowly. He's being tended to by the training staff of the Blackhawks. They have a 3rd goaltender with him, Darren Pang, and he would be able to get dressed. Now watch this angle here as it's shot so quickly, and it's just a rising shot. Bannerman tried his hardest to get out of the road, but it caught him up high. He's up on his knees now, and you can see that appeared to be the smelling salts being applied to him to try and, there you can see him inhaling the smelling salts, trying to get his faculties together. Warren Skordensky, of course, did play somewhat in that first game, in fact, the 3rd period, but Bannerman appears to be up. He's a tough character.
And I'm sure his parents looking in tonight from Winnipeg are much relieved to see Murray Bannerman up and skating around. Murray played his junior hockey with the St. James Canadiens.
You know, this morning, talking to Bannerman, because he was watching us play ball hockey the other day in practice with Lutzig playing nets, and Bannerman was saying this morning, you know, it wouldn't be a bad idea if we played tonight's game with a beach ball. And I'm sure that on that shot by Anderson, he wished it would have been a beach ball.
You know, this has to bring you to be aware of the fact that most goaltenders wearing that cage now in goal, but Murray Bannerman started wearing this type of a mask, and it's very difficult for some goaltenders to change as time changes. As we mentioned, Grant Fuhr does have the fiberglass mask there. You can see his now. I mentioned prior that these masks are molded to the individual's facial structure, and they fit perfectly around the cheekbones, around the chin, around the forehead area. Now, the coaching staff have to be aware that Murray Bannerman probably was out for a couple of seconds. They have to be aware of the fact that, is he going to be sharp in there still? Will he be aware of what's going on around him? Sometimes the goaltender wants to stay in there because they're very tough individuals, but sometimes it's not the best thing for the club.
I think what's important now as far as the Blackhawks is concerned, as Cliff Corll and Jack Davidson look on, is to make sure that the Oilers don't get any quality shots right now. Give Bannerman a chance to recover and recoup and get his concentration back, because I'm sure he's still a little shaky right at this juncture.
Well, that was certainly a wicked drive that Glenn Anderson unleashed from the slot. And fortunately for Murray Bannerman, he is able to continue. O'Callaghan out of his own zone, deflected in by Secord. Lee Fogelin goes back after it. Secord is sent flying on a check by Kevin Lowe. Glenn Anderson, he drops it for Mark Messier. Messier in across the line. Messier one-hands it, and it's stopped at the side of the net by Murray Bannerman. Now it's Larmer ahead for Savard. Savard working in across the line. He has some nifty moves. Back to Ben Wilson, a shot right on. And Fuhr stood his ground and made the save. 18:50, the time remaining in the second period with the Oilers leading 2-1.
That shows some of the skills of Savard, how he's able to carry that puck and set up an excellent play.
Picked off by Lindstrom, his shot, and Bannerman got a glove on it. Yaremchuk plays it around to the other side as DuPont starts out a lead pass for Lysiak. He couldn't go anywhere with it. The Hawks get it again. Darryl Sutter is checked by Randy Gregg, and it's cleared to center ice. 18-17, the time left here in the second period. Melnick works to the corner, out front, nobody in position. Back to the line, Randy Gregg with a quick shot goes wide. Melnick back at the line, a drive, it deflects wide. Bannerman is down. He managed to regain his balance as Willie Lindstrom was unable to control that puck along the boards. Good bump there along the boards as Melnick collided with Yaremchuk. Now the puck out into the center ice area, picked up by Lysiak, way out of his net. A good 10 to 15 feet to make the save was Bannerman.
Well, boy, behind the play, I saw DuPont give McClellan a two-hander. McClellan was going off the ice on a line change, quite a collision. We look at Olczyk, the rookie. There's the defensive part of the Chicago Blackhawks. DuPont, there you can see, number 25. He was going to quit pro hockey, go back to law school, or go through law school if he did not make the Chicago Blackhawks this year. He had over a 90 average in school, and he felt it would be his best interest to either go to school or else play in the National League, and the Hawks have been pretty happy with his season thus far.
Well, I know Murray Bannerman has been busy tonight, but let me correct that last save. In goal for the Edmonton Oilers, of course, Grant Freer, not Murray Bannerman. 14-12, the shots on goal in favor of the Oilers.
Well, so far, Dave has been relatively quiet. He's just going back and forth up his wing, and normally when he'll be so effective is in front of that net. And every once in a while, get involved and throw a pretty good body check as he did against Murray.
Kept everything down there. There was no elbows, high stick, anything. That's the way to do it.
Well, the Oilers had a history this year of taking a lot of bad penalties, and Gretzky talked about that, and he said that really took a lot away from our offense because we're continually paying a man short.
Here's Semenko moving in. His shot is deflected up onto the glass. He's a very popular individual with Northland Coliseum fans. Now the Hawks break out 3-on-1. A pass for Murray. Murray tried to get it across to Gardner. It bounced back to Murray to the line. Doug Wilson winds up. His shot is wide. Olczyk tried to center it. It was picked off by Jari Kurri and backed up Edmonton, led by Coffey. Gretzky trailing on the play. Coffey with the drive wide. And Bannerman had to clear it off the end board. Dumped out into the center ice area now as Coffey waits for his mates to get back on side.
Now, fellas, we mentioned in the first period about the Blackhawks coming back deep in their own zone with those Edmonton forwards. That makes the Edmonton defense wide open, and those defensemen are starting to get a few shots directed towards the goal of Murray Bannerman.
Introducing a computer that can change the way you work. The new Tandy 1000, complete with DeskMate software for easy-to-use word processing, filing, worksheets, scheduling, communications. Brought to you by Tandy, clearly superior for service, support, and software. The Tandy 1000, available at Radio Shack computer centers and so affordable. Tandy technology, service, and support are clearly superior.
16:42 left in the second, 2-1. The Oilers lead the Blackhawks. Pair of 26s, Patterson and Krushelnyski facing off. Fired in, Jerome Dupont picks it up for Chicago. Ahead to Kurt Fraser, he was checked, unable to get it out, and finally it's cleared by Chicago. Fogelin back in his own zone. He plays it off Krushelnyski down into the Chicago zone. Backward goes Wilson. It's an icing call.
One thing that's very important as far as the Blackhawks are concerned is to shut off the area between the two blue lines. And, you know, if you have the wingers coming back, a defenseman can break up plays and really challenge, because that's where the Oilers get going. Now, there is the way to do it. Wingers coming back, defenseman challenge at center ice, and you disrupt that flow of the Oilers.
You know, the key there, Gary, too, is Murray makes a good play, but he has to make sure that the winger stays with Semenko over there, and Semenko almost had a scoring chance. So it's very, very important that there's cohesion between his own forwards and the defense themselves.
That's communication, so very important.
Pat Hughes dumps it out into the center ice area for Krushelnyski. Going for the net. Krushelnyski with a backhand shot. Bannerman with the save. Chicago unable to clear it. Dupont plays it around for Wilson. Wilson up on the right side into the center ice area for Patterson. Patterson forced back into his own zone. Blackhawks having a little trouble with the forechecking now of the Oilers. Finally, they dump it out to center ice, but Krushelnyski fires it right back in. 15:40, the time left in period 2. It's a 2-1 game in favor of Edmonton. A loose puck. Savard trying to pick it up as he was racing back there after it against Larry Melnick. He was upset. Savard gets it again, and his drive from just inside the line, and the save by Fuhr. Fired in by Krushelnyski. He's going to the bench. He's had a long shift, and now Al Secor takes it back of his own net. Secor unable to get it out of there against the checking of Mark Messier. Anderson there on the boards as well, and they hold it for a whistle. This is Hockey Night in Canada on CBC.
Some make greatness look simple, like the great Gretzky, and Canon's new vision of photography, the inspiring T70, with the pure agility of touch-button control and 3 distinct program modes. Now, Canon makes it simple to handle any shot. The inspiring Canon T70.
It makes the great shot simple.
Canon, the official camera of the National Hockey League.
15:02 is the time left in the second. The face-off to the left of Bannerman. Savard against Messier. From the draw, Wilson takes it back in his own net. For Larmer. Larmer dumped it into the center ice area. Mark Messier comes back for Edmonton. Messier's pass intercepted back at the line. O'Callaghan with a shot right on. Back to the line again. Wilson trying to keep it in. He was just able to flip it, and it is brought out by the Oilers. Messier with a shot. Big rebound. The puck comes all the way out to center ice on the save by Bannerman. Doug Wilson appears to be struggling just a little as he goes to that Chicago bench. He may have re-aggravated that groin injury that kept him out of game 1.
Well, I think he re-aggravated it in the first period. I think he's just playing on basic heart right now.
Ben in front for Sutter. He spins around. He gets it again. And then he tries to score.
What an effort. Well, that's what captains are made of. That's normally that second effort that really separates the players. And watch Sutter, he's down, he's up, the quickness, and you know, some of the drills that you do in the course of the year really helps you to be able to do that.
You know, on this loose puck right here, Charlie Huddy's not quite sure where it is. You can see him look around a little bit, and then right up top by Sutter, unbelievable shot as he was going backwards, actually moving away from the net when he put it into the top corner. Super, super goal.
Johnny, he had good velocity on that shot, too, a wrist shot.
So Daryl Sutter, the second oldest of the 6 Sutter brothers playing in the National Hockey League, gets the Chicago Blackhawks back on even terms at 5:49 from Larmer and Bergevin. Sutter, of course, the overtime hero in 2 games for the Blackhawks as they eliminated Minnesota. Curry took a drive. It hit the defenseman Wilson, and now Olchek breaks out. He has Troy Murray on the left side. Murray drops it back for Olchek. Olchek fired it wide. Then Wilson from the point dumps it to the corner. Kevin Lowe plays it to the other side to Fogelin.
Again, we can see Troy Murray on the ice against Gretzky. He's right out beside him.
Gardner going to the corner, trying to center it. Picked off by Gretzky, but he doesn't get it out. And now the forechecking of the Blackhawks is causing some problems for the Oilers. 2-2 the score. A long lead pass too far for Dave Semenko, and Murray Bannerman clears it.
You know, it's interesting with Gretzky out there and Troy Murray out there. When Murray has an opportunity going into forecheck, he just makes a swing and follows Gretzky. He will not go in and do the job forechecking.
And the Oilers are offside at the line. Hockey night in Canada and the Stanley Cup playoffs. The tradition continues.
You keep on drinking your export, 'cause it keeps on tasting great.
When we take a look at Daryl Sutter's goal here again, let's watch the collision in front of the net. And Charlie Huddy's down. He's not quite sure where that puck is, and Sutter just simply got control of it. He's got it now, and Huddy was actually looking in the opposite direction. By the time they realized that Sutter had it in the top corner, a terrific shot. Fuhr was out, I would believe, far enough, I think, on that particular play, because I think Sutter actually surprised him since he was fading away from the net when he took the shot, like a basketball shot when the guy fades away from the basket. Puts a jump shot up. That was a heck of a shot, no matter how you look at it.
Yeah, here I thought Fuhr was in a bit too deep on that one.
And that ultra slow-mo provided for us by the Nicest Corporation for exclusive use on Hockey Night in Canada. Out front, Kuznetsov scores. Miko Melnick firing it in.
Well, when you miss assignments in your own end and not pick up the proper man, and again, everybody's back there. Look at the right winger. He's circling at the blue line with Melnick in the slot, but that's his man. If he goes in, he has to stay with him. He's no good out at the blue line.
Let's watch Murray Bannerman. If he stays on his feet here, he makes a save. He went down prematurely, and the puck went underneath him.
But Melnick shouldn't have been allowed to shoot that puck because the assignment was to pick him up, and it never was done.
Melnick from Hunter and McClelland at 7:19. So again, the Oilers take the lead as Willie Lindstrom starts up. Loose puck picked off the boards by Sean Lysiak. His pass was behind Bergevin. It slides back into the neutral zone. The Oilers mishandled it, and it goes back into Edmonton territory. 12:06 is the time remaining in the second period. 3-2, Edmonton now leading the Chicago Blackhawks. Sutter has tied it for Chicago. Larry Melnick with the go-ahead goal. Doug Wilson fires it on the right side for Yaremchuk. Rookie unable to go anywhere with it. It goes loose in the center ice area, picked up by Secord. He goes back into his own zone for O'Callaghan. Off the board, too far for Secord. However, the loose puck picked up by Patterson and fired into the Edmonton zone. 11:29 left in the second period. 3-2, the Oilers in front of the Blackhawks. Pat Hughes couldn't carry on with it. Now Hughes gets it again back at the net for Kozar, who tried to center it for Krushelnyski, and it was poked to the corner. Fraser in there trying to dig it out along with Wilson and O'Callaghan. Puck at the side of the Chicago net, finally picked up by Fraser. Fraser couldn't move out of his zone. Finally gets another opportunity and clears it. 10:55 left in the second. 3-2. Edmonton leading Chicago. DuPont breaks up an Edmonton attack at his own line. Now the Oilers are forced back into their own zone. It's Coffey. To the line. He's finally checked. Lead pass intended for Patterson. Too far for him. It slides all the way into the Edmonton zone. And Fuhr is forced to make the save. Now Vogelin puts it down the ice into Chicago territory. Lead pass for Al Secord on the right side. Larmer couldn't control it. It comes to the line, kept in by Savard. A weak shot that gave Fuhr a little trouble, but he finally cut it out. Live on CBC, a hockey night in Canada.
Hey, Ontario, we're going on a winning spree. The Ontario Lottery Corporation is having a 10th anniversary. 10 years of games that the people love to play. Ontario's a winner each and every day. Celebrate Ontario's lottery. Celebrate our lotteries. Celebrate. Everyone's a winner. Celebrate our lotteries. Celebrate. Everyone's a winner. Celebrate.
Fairly even game. The Oilers lead by 1. The shot total reads Blackhawks 17, Oilers 16 to this point.
Vogelin round the boards for Lowe. Lowe for Messier on the right side. Anderson had difficulty controlling it. As a matter of fact, he was offside. Tonight's game on CBC is coming to you from Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton.
Great escape kit. Thank you. But my sensors indicate a slight problem with my windshield.
Ah, time for standard auto glass.
Who else is #1 in windshield replacement? And not only are they friendly and fast, they'll even send out a free mobile glass replacement unit. And every single job is guaranteed in writing.
Can't top that.
Yes, I can.
Show off.
.10:02 remaining in the second. 3-2. The Oilers lead the Blackhawks. O'Callaghan was looking for Savard at that Edmonton line. The pass picked off by Kevin Lowe. Now O'Callaghan back behind his own net. Pokes it away from Anderson. Secord. Long pass for Larmer, too far. And Kevin Lowe along the boards. Pokes it back into the Chicago zone. Wilson for O'Callaghan. For Secord. Secord having difficulty controlling it as he's taken in against the boards by Vogelin. Anderson plays it to the other side for Kevin Lowe. The Oilers defenseman shoots it in and goes to the bench as the Oilers make a change. O'Callaghan up to the line. Laid ahead for Savard and line right on. And Fuhr again out of his net to challenge.
Well, that was an excellent shot by Savard because, again, this line of Savard, Secord, and Larmer just have not generated a lot of good scoring chances.
Gardner attempted to go around Melnick. He lost the puck in the process as he fell. Back comes Gary Curry with 8:50 remaining in this second period. Pass picked off by Melnick. He has scored the go-ahead goal. For Gretzky behind his back for Curry. Curry into the corner for Semenko. Semenko is tied up there by DuPont. It comes out into the slot, but it's picked off by Gardner. Now the Hawks go to the attack. Ben Wilson, long shot. Fuhr has to react quickly to steer that one to the corner. Loose puck in front of the net. Olchek almost poked it free.
You know, with Troy Murray staying on Gretzky like he has, that basically eliminates anyone moving the puck quickly to Gary Curry. You may see somebody go on the left side in place of Dave Semenko to try and get Curry the puck a little more.
Curry lost control of it at the line as Troy Murray is keeping a close watch on Wayne Gretzky. He's shadowing him everywhere. Gardner flicks it out to center ice. Charlie Huddy to the other side for Paul Coffey. Off Willie Lindstrom. Gretzky tried to slide it back to Lindstrom. He's bodied by Bob Murray. And the puck is fired out to the center ice area.
Well, the Blackhawks certainly are not taking any chances coming out of their own end. They're wrapping that puck hard off of the board so that there's no opportunity of being intercepted by the Oilers.
Kevin McClellan now breaking in against Doug Wilson. The shot and right off the side of the net. Picked up by Honey. He takes a shot, knocked down by Wilson, and he clears it to Sutter. Here's a 3-on-1. Sutter on the right side. Oh, and he went too deep. Urenchuk having difficulty controlling it, and he went too deep, unable to get her shot away. Urenchuk gets it again. Back to the line. O'Callahan with a shot deflected by Sutter. And Grant Fuhr protected that short side. Pressure here by the Hawks. Lundgren trying to slide it in front. Picked up now by Sutter. He centers it. Nobody in position. And Hunter goes to the boards for Edmonton. For McClellan. A long drive to save by Bannerman as O'Callahan takes it behind the net.
The theory behind the Chicago Blackhawks style of play in this game is to take advantage of what opportunities they get. They had a 3-on-1 recently, never even got a shot on goal. They have to try and take advantage of those.
There's Krzyzewski sliding it in front as he was looking for Kozar cutting in on that left side, and Bannerman knocked it down. Now Bob Murray across the line, a drive, it goes wide. A screen shot that just missed. Loose puck in that Edmonton zone. It's 6:13 remaining in this second period. Brought out by Pat Hughes. He ran into a check from Fraser as he hit the Chicago line. Dumped into the center ice area. And the Hawks, despite trailing by a goal, have certainly come alive here at the midpoint and the last 5 minutes of this second period.
Well, there's no doubt that they're playing with a lot of intensity, and they're trying to wrap the Oilers every opportunity.
Fraser moving into the slot. He's checked by Hughes, and it's cut down the ice. A race for it. Bob Murray gets there first. Leads it up on the right side. And here comes Patterson for Chicago. Looking for Fraser in front. The pass never got through. 5:30, the time left in the second period as Glenn Anderson moves out of his own zone for Edmonton. The Oilers leading by a score of 3-2. Drop pass for Messier. Cutting for the goal. Messier hits the shot. Bannerman with the save. This is Stanley Cup 85 on CBC.
Searching for value? Introducing the 85.5 Lynx with a new, more powerful engine, improved fuel economy, and new aero styling. Now you can lease a Lynx for as low as $145 a month. Search no longer.
You know I'll bring her in someday.
New Lynx from Mercury, from the maker of the best-built North American cars.
3-2 the score in favor of the Edmonton Oilers over the Chicago Blackhawks, and that go-ahead goal scored by Larry Melnick, his first ever NHL goal in 103 regular season and 37 playoff games. At a moment for Larry Melnick to come up with that goal. The Oilers in front. 5:04 remaining in the second. Dumped into the Chicago zone. Secord plays it off the boards and down the ice.
Well, it's interesting, the line matchup here. You know, you have the line of Messier, Napier, Anderson, full speed ahead. Then you have Savard. He's got the speed of the trio of the Oilers, but Larmer and Secord, they will come late. They'll take a lot of passes and drop passes from Savard.
Savard out of his own zone, trying to hit Secord on the right side. Secord was tied up by Yari Curry. Many people talk about his goal-scoring skills, but he's also an outstanding defensive player. Paul Coffey on the backhand shot. He poked at that rebound just as he was upset and went flying into the end boards as he was nudged there by Doug Wilson. Hockey Night in Canada returns in a moment.
Okay, guys, what are we doing for my birthday? Well, we thought we'd just take you down to RJ's for beer. But it's my birthday.
So? Should have told us sooner.
Thanks, guys. I love surprise. That was great.
RJ, bring him the bill.
Nice.
4:19, the time left in the second, and I'd like to take this moment from all of us at Hockey Night in Canada to extend birthday greetings to Frank Selke Sr., 92 years of age today. Mr. Selke, a happy birthday from all of us. From the face-off, Doug Wilson goes to the corner. Unable to clear it as Curry keeps it in for Krushelnyski. A high shot. Over top of that Chicago net. Krushelnyski in the slot, unable to get set. And coming out for Chicago is Olczyk. Working against Charlie Huddy. Olczyk tried to beat it into the slot. It bounced off an Edmonton player, and Charlie Huddy has it again. Into the center ice area for Coffey. He lost control at the line. Regains possession. Coffey centering it. And the Edmonton player, Krushelnyski, was tied up as Murray dumps it down the ice. 3:37 left in this second period. Curry shoots it in. John Davidson, you talked about some of the different lineup changes that Glenn Sather would attempt with the shadow job of Troy Murray on Gretzky. They now have Krushelnyski out there playing with Gretzky and Curry.
Well, they realize that Curry has to get the puck. He's better without the puck, of course, with his shot on goal. But Krushelnyski used to be a centerman, and he has played center here. Get him on the wing to move the puck to Curry.
Curry moves it to the corner for Gretzky. Out front for Hunter. What a save by Vanderman. Hunter up there now in place of Krushelnyski on the wing with Gretzky and Curry. Back of the Edmonton net, picked up by Hunter. He flips it to the center ice area, picks it up. A long ride. Vanderman, big rebound. Fogelman. Rather than shoot, gave it to Curry, and Curry couldn't get a shot away. He plays it to the other side, kept in at the point by Kevin Lowe. Now Hunter taken in against the boards by Ben Wilson, back of the net. Fed out into the slot by Gretzky, nobody in position, and Troy Murray starts back. With Bergevin, the rookie, a long shot. Fuhrer knocks that down, and Randy Gregg plays it out into the center ice area. Hunter had a little difficulty picking it up, finally spun away from Savard, and it's shot down into the Chicago zone.
Well, the speed of this game has certainly increased the tempo, and I just wonder, that's certainly playing into the Edmonton hands. You know, they want to slow down the pace, not keep up with this rate of speed.
Second by second, hour by hour, day by day. When you save at the Continental Bank, time is on your side. Because whatever savings account you choose, you'll earn interest on all your money every day. And no other bank can say that. Continental Bank of Canada. Bankers in action.
2:05, the time left in the second period. 3-2. The Oilers lead the Blackhawks. It was 2-1 after 20 minutes. Sutter and Melnick have scored here in the second period. Lead pass intended for Savard, too far, icing against Chicago.
Well, Murray Bannerman's played pretty well since he got that shot in the forehead here early in the second period. He did let that one goal in by Melnick where he went down a little prematurely, but he's come back real strong. Give him some credit.
John, one thing I wanted to ask you, you know, it's so important for the Blackhawks to stand up. Would Bannerman yell at his defense to stand up, and is it a good idea?
Well, I think it's a good idea for a goaltender to talk as much as possible. Now, here in Edmonton, it's basically a quiet arena as far as fans go, so his defenseman can hear him, and I'm sure he does employ that tactic a lot. But in Chicago, no chance, no sense in even talking because they're just a little too noisy and nobody's going to hear him.
Does it take away from his concentration of playing nets by yelling at the defense?
I think it makes your concentration better by talking, being involved in that sense.
Melnick with another shot off the leg. It bounces to Gregg. He took a shot. That bounced into the center ice area. Melnick back into his own zone. Over for Randy Gregg. Doctor plays it ahead to Messier for Mark Napier. His shot knocked down. He gets it again. Napier across the line. Back to Gregg. A drive and deflection. And Bannerman had been knocked into the net by Glenn Anderson. And Bannerman was able to get a piece of that shot from Gregg.
Good hustle by this line of Messier. A lot of around the net action. You know, Bob Fulford calls the shots for the Blackhawks. One change he made was putting Roger Nielsen back on the bench, moving Cliff Cornell upstairs. I think superstition has a lot to do with that. The change from game one. Roger Nielsen changing the defenseman during this game. Now watch Glenn Anderson. He's in that goal crease area. He's been known over the years as one to bump goaltenders as much as possible. A lot of goaltenders around the league do talk about Anderson bumping the people in that union. There you see the collision after behind the net. But Messier's been going against Sutter, or excuse me, Savard all game long, and Messier has knocked down Savard all night long, and he hasn't been called for it.
I'm sure Dougie Wilson is in a lot of pain. It's, you know, when it comes to turning, it's very difficult for him to do that. You know, taped up very heavily, but by the way, he's just playing on guts alone, and you have to admire that in Wilson. And as you had mentioned, J.D., he has given his club a lift just by his presence.
I think the normal recovery period for a groin injury is about 2 weeks.
Well, you know, yeah, it depends how severe it is, of course. You have to be careful you don't make it any worse, but they know that they would love to get a split out of the first 2 games here in Edmonton, and with him in the lineup, it just gives the team more confidence, even if he just sits on the bench.
Krushelnyski back at the net for Gretzky. He was looking for Curry with that quick pass out front, but Curry was tied up. And Murray is simply staying with Gretzky back at the net. Quick shot, gloved by Bannerman. He holds it with Gretzky at the side of the net.
Of course, with Wayne Gretzky, the other day in practice, he was wearing a shield similar to Posar, and we asked him about it. He said, well, just trying it, and also I want to make my mother feel a little happier, you know. She mentioned that perhaps I should do it, so I'll do it. And now, of course, number 99, where did he get the jersey 99? His hero was Gordie Howe when he went drafted by St. Mary's. Sault Ste. Marie, rather, a player already had number 9, so the coach suggested that we put double 99, and that's the reason that he has worn it ever since.
Now it's Coffey, number 7, over on the wing to Krushelnyski. Krushelnyski tried to get it out front. It went off the skate. There's a penalty coming up against Jerome Dupont, I believe.
It's going to be an interference penalty. You know, again, Krushelnyski was on the left side of this line with Curry and Gretzky. They have Semenko sitting on the bench now, trying to get something going. There you can see Big Ben Wilson and Krushelnyski talking things over. Dupont didn't think he was going to get that penalty originally. I believe it was on Coffey. Coffey been up ice quite a bit. And then once he realized he was going to get it, he tried to get back at one of the Oilers to draw them into a penalty. Obviously, it hasn't worked, as he's the only player going to the penalty box at this time. But Coffey drew that by being up ice again. Watch it here in the far left corner here. There it is, right ahead of Murray Bannerman. You can see Dupont taking him into the boards. The puck wasn't even near them at the time, and that's why he gets called for the interference.
If you're going to do it, don't do it with Fraser standing beside you.
Yeah, right. And don't do it when the puck's on the other side of the ice. The puck is, for the time being, but just 48 seconds here remaining in the second period.
Well, the Blackhawks, would like to get a goal to finish off the second period.
Of course, Fulford wants to get out of this period only 1 goal behind and have again a successful period against the Edmonton Oilers. Only 1 down going to the third. So face-off becomes very important.
Gretzky waved out of the circle. Patterson and Krushelnyski battling for the puck. Now it comes out to Charlie Huddy and shot. Patterson got a piece of that. He came out to challenge. And it's cleared by Chicago.
That whole play was set up where Krushelnyski used his size and his reach, and he ended up pulling down a couple of the Blackhawks. And he got an opportunity from that. Here, Huddy and Ludzik are down. It appears Ludzik's in some kind of pain.
Huddy is staying down because he realizes that Ludzik is hurt. And now he very carefully extricates himself, his legs from those of Steve Ludzik. And Ludzik appears to be in an awful lot of pain as the two of them got tangled up just inside the Chicago blue line. Steve Ludzik, a Toronto native who played with Niagara Falls and was one of a number of 1980 draft choices by the Chicago Blackhawks, 4 who are currently wearing Chicago uniforms.
Don, I talked to him this morning in practice, and he's settling down in the Niagara Falls area. Just married this past summer, and looking forward to returning there.
He's an important player for this hockey club, much like Dale Hunter is to the Quebec Nordiques. He's that style of a player. He can aggravate other teams, make them take penalties on a person like himself. Obviously in some kind of pain as he heads to the Chicago bench.
29 seconds remaining in the period. The Oilers with the manpower advantage as a result of that interference call against Jerome Dupont. He was another of those 1980 draft selections, along with Denny Savard and Troy Murray, currently playing for the Hawks. Now Murray is going to face off against Gretzky just outside of that Edmonton line. And with 23 seconds remaining in this second period, Paul Coffey drives out of his own zone. Coffey into the slot. Anderson couldn't get a shot away. He tried a backhand pass. Gets it again, takes a shot that Bannerman makes the save on. Finally, it's cleared down the ice, and that will do it. We've played 40 minutes here in Game 2 of this Campbell Conference Final, and the score at the end of the second period is Edmonton 3, Chicago 2.
refrigerator, range, washer, dryer, dishwasher, microwave oven. The Brick and Hot Point introduced the most incredible appliance offer anywhere in Canada. The double rebate appliance sale at the Brick. Find his fully automatic Easy Clean range with electronic timing center, just $6.98, less the Hot Point rebate of $25, less the Brick rebate of $25. Bottom line price $6.48. The Brick and Hot Point double rebate appliance sale. Scarborough, Mississauga, Brampton, and Central Toronto.
I adore my 64, my Commodore 64. I sing with it, write with it, figure my path of flight with it, my Commodore 64. I rate with it, create with it, telecommunicate with it, my Commodore 64.
Now, for under $250, you can buy a Commodore 64. For complete details, see your authorized Commodore dealer.
I adore my 64, my Commodore 64.
Jim Bain talks about saving money on his two cars with Allstate's two-car discount.
I did save money with Allstate's two-car discount, but as you can see, the two cars are kind of gone right now. My wife, well, she went shopping. The kids went shopping, too. Of course, you know how that can happen, boy. The minute you shoot a commercial on your front lawn, everybody goes shopping. But they'll be back.
Contact an Allstate agent about the two-car discount. You're in good hands with Allstate.
You know, I swept this entire driveway this morning, and then they take the cars.
7:45 a.m. The Waltons were enjoying their holidays 2,000 miles from home when all of a sudden it happened. Transmission problems. Jack wasn't worried, though. He looked to the telephone book to find that friendly name, Mr. Transmission. With over 80 centers across Canada, Jack knew he would find a Mr. Transmission close at hand. 3 p.m., the Waltons were on their way again. That's why people are saying,
Hey, Mr. Transmission. Hey, Mr. You're a friend of mine.
CBC News with Knowlton Nash.
Here are tonight's top news headlines. The U.S. trade embargo against Nicaragua started today. And in Madrid, U.S. President Ronald Reagan was told that his unilateral declaration does not have Spain's support. In Nicaragua, people are scrambling to buy items already in short supply. New Brunswick Premier Richard Hatfield says he won't quit. There's increasing pressure on him to resign because of his language policy, his marijuana case, and the Tories' loss of a so-called safe seat in a by-election. Another day of fierce fighting in Beirut has killed at least 23 people. For 15 hours, Christians and Muslims shot at and shelled each other across the green line dividing the city. A ceasefire was declared, but random shooting and shelling continued. 10 years after their war, thousands of American Vietnam veterans today marched through New York City in a ticker-tape parade. 1 million people line Broadway to cheer the vets. We'll have more on these and other stories later tonight on the National and on the Journal. But now back to Hockey Night in Canada.
This is the second game of this series, and one might say the first contest. Darryl Sutter's goal gave the Hawks their second tie of the game, but Larry Melnick's first ever NHL goal, regular season or playoffs, has put the Oilers in front for the third time. The legend of Scotty Bowman's Montreal Canadiens is next.
From 1976 to 1979, the Montreal Canadiens dominated the NHL with 4 straight Stanley Cups. My guest tonight on Hockey Legends was a leader of that club, Serge Savard.
Bobby Orr and the Hockey Legends is brought to you by Planters Nuts, the legend of quality and freshness. Tonight, the legend of Serge Savard and the Montreal Canadiens of the late 70s.
There are great prizes to be won in the Snack and Win sweepstakes. When you buy these fresh-tasting Planters Nuts and delicious Lowney snacks, you could win $5,000 cash. One of 10 Mitsubishi VCRs, and one of 2 incredible Ford Tempos. All in the Planters Lowney's Snack and Win sweepstakes.
The record books will always reflect the achievement of the Montreal Canadiens teams that won 4 straight Stanley Cups in the late 70s. But another example of their domination is on the ice itself. For it was the Canadiens' victory over Philadelphia in 1976, which demonstrated that pure hockey skills could and would outlast a physical, sometimes intimidating style.
We had a lot of satisfaction being especially the Flyers. It's not really the cup itself, because I was a player that spoke a lot about violence in those years, and I think hockey was going in the wrong direction. And by beating them, I think was the best thing that could ever happen to hockey in those years.
As dominant as they were on the ice, Montreal also had strong leadership behind the scenes from general manager Sam Pollock and coach Scotty Bowman.
I do believe that Sam was a great hockey man, and he was thinking about hockey 24 hours a day. I don't recall one player going into his office and being unhappy when he got out, even if the contract was not that big.
Well, Scotty is a terrific coach, and he molded players into positions that we needed filled on the team. He allowed other players to excel with their individual skills that they need freedom to develop. And I thought with the players he had, that he handled everyone well and allowed everybody to succeed in their own way.
Comment on some of your key players. First, the great Ken Dryden.
Ken was another guy that did give us a lot of confidence, because all those years when we won the Cup, we had to beat the great Boston Bruins, and getting 20 shots every period, and we used to come out real big, especially the first period, because of him.
How about Bob Gainey?
Bob Gainey brought us a great contribution, because he was playing against the best player all the time, and most of the time he had the best of it, and sometimes he scored some important goal when we didn't expect him to do so.
Well, the all-time greats, Guy Lafleur.
There's not much to say about Guy Lafleur. I think he dominated the game in the 70s. After you left, he took over, and after the Gretzky took over, and he was just a superstar.
And your coach today, Jacques Lemaire.
I played with Jacques all my career, and I think he was an outstanding centerman, playing in between, beside Guy Lafleur and Steve Schott, and I think he played a great role to make those guys famous.
Well, we had a good variety. We had very talented players like Lafleur and Schott, and Lemaire was a strong centerman for that team, and Pete Mahovlich was a very strong offensive player. But we had the real top-notch defensive players in Jarvis and Gainey and Roberts, and we had a line of Riseborough and Lambert and Tremblay. They seemed to pick up the pace in a lot of games that if we got off to a poor start, they were hard workers, and they're, by example, they definitely had the other players working hard by early in the game.
Some have described the Montreal defense led by you, Robinson, and Lapointe, the best combination in history. What made you so great?
Well, I think we were, a good group of defensemen, but we were not bigger than the club. We had some very, very good players on our club. That's what made the club so good, not only the defensemen. Lapointe and Robinson were extremely good offensive defensemen. And myself, I always claim I was a defensive defenseman. I used to go up at times, but I tried to play the score.
I think Serge was a general out there. He was a calm, cool, and collective guy that played the same game day in and day out. And he was the captain, and rightly so. He was the leader on the team, and showed not only by example on the ice, but off the ice as well.
If the Canadians of the late 70s played against today's Oilers, what type of game would it be?
Well, would be a good defensive series by both clubs, but I like to believe that our club in the 70s were much stronger defensively than they are now, and would probably win the series.
Oh, Dick.
Yes?
What are you doing in the closet?
Well, I'm eating Junior Mints, and I don't want to share them.
What are Junior Mints?
Soft, creamy mints and real chocolate. Here, you can try one.
Mmm. Hey, they are creamy and minty. Grab some more?
No, sorry, I can't right now. See you later.
Fine. Stay in there, then.
Junior Mints. So creamy, so minty, so good they'll drive you crazy.
Soft, creamy mints and real chocolate.
Dick, it's time to go to sleep.
Night, honey. You make me feel brand new.
Bobby Orr and the Hockey Legends was brought to you by Planters Nuts, the legend of quality and freshness.
Bobby Orr and the Hockey Legends will continue later in this Campbell Conference Final. The third period is upcoming. The Hawks down just 1 goal, a big difference from Saturday's opening game when they trailed by 6 after 40 minutes of play. Replay is next live on CBC. This is Hockey Night in Canada and the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Molson Canadian. Taste that'll stop you cold.
From the makers of the Decosonic Vacuum Bag Sealer comes another unique kitchen helper, the Decosonic Rechargeable Can Opener. Use it in its wall bracket or slip it out and it's cordless. The Decosonic Rechargeable Can Opener opens almost all can sizes, a perfect kitchen helper. The blade assembly is removable for easy cleaning. Take the Decosonic Rechargeable Can Opener along on picnics, camping, the backyard barbecue, the cottage, anywhere. The Decosonic Rechargeable Can Opener. Get yours soon.
It can be a beast, the house that needs to be painted. That's why Canadian Tire is introducing Mastercraft Premiere. With hundreds of colors to choose from, it can turn frightening walls into works of art. And the beast won't rise again for a long, long time because it lasts. New Mastercraft Premiere from Canadian Tire. There is no better choice in paint. It's the beauty that can truly tame the beast. The right choice for paint has never been so clear.
We've improved the new 85.5 Ford Escort in 30 different areas. We've improved it in the area of performance with quicker acceleration, in the area of fuel economy, making Escort one of the most fuel-efficient cars in Canada. We've improved it in just about every other area, too. Impressive for a car already the bestseller in this area. Now you can lease the 85.5 Ford Escort for as low as $145 a month. Have you driven the best-built North American cars? Have you driven a Ford lately?
Stanley Cup Replay, brought to you by Apple Computers and authorized Apple dealers throughout Canada.
It might make a very big difference to the Blackhawks' cause if they could take the lead and play ahead of Edmonton, but it hasn't happened yet tonight as Yari Curry broke a 1-1 tie at the 12:26 mark of the first period on a fine play by Wayne Gretzky. And then in the second period, the Hawks came out and got a tie once again at 5:49. Darryl Sutter fell, had a chance to get up and shoot a puck just under the bar, and the arm of Grant Fuhrt was tied for the second time. But then Larry Melnick was in the right place to take a pass from back of the net. Dave Hunter gave it to him, and this is Melnick's first NHL goal, the difference in the game at this point. Edmonton leading 3-2 after 2 periods.
Stanley Cup Replay, brought to you by Apple Computers and authorized Apple dealers throughout Canada.
Now you can take a Macintosh business computer to your business for a free test drive. It'll blow your mind.
Molson Canadian. Taste that'll stop you cold.
For 4 decades, Hockey Night in Canada and the Stanley Cup playoffs have been synonymous. The goals, the personalities, the exhilaration of victory, And it's no different in 1985.
Sending it off to Lysiak down the middle. The veteran coming in on goal. A drop pass. Sutter shoots. Scores! Daryl Sutter scores in overtime as Chicago Blackhawks win the game.
Try to get it back to Price, and he does. Screen shot. Rebound. Oh, score! Quebec has won the series.
Join us as the tradition continues on Hockey Night in Canada. Chicago Stadium usually helps the Blackhawks, though it didn't in the Norris Division final against the Minnesota North Stars. I guess the bottom line is Chicago would like to go home tied with Edmonton and not worry about whether the stadium will help or not. Chris Cuthbert, the Philadelphia Flyers have home ice for the next 2 games in the Wales Conference Series. Your impressions of what happened tonight in Quebec?
Obviously, the Flyers played much better in a 4-2 win and had an opportunity to talk about the first 40 minutes of the game with Oiler assistant John Muckler, who said he thought the Nordiques looked tired, which was an interesting comment because Quebec was coming off the long series with Montreal, and yet they skated yesterday. Philadelphia had a shorter series with the New York Islanders, and yet they took the day off yesterday to sightsee in Quebec City, and the result was the Flyers winning 4-2, so perhaps the coaching strategy of Mike Keenan was an advantage going into game number 2.
What I saw of tonight's game was what I expected to see in the first game of the series. The only surprise so far was the fact that Quebec looked so good in the opener when you would have thought that the Flyers would have had the edge. I still expect Philadelphia to use the home ice advantage that they've now gained and go on to win the series maybe in straight games from here.
Well, one thing to remember, though, is that the Nordiques played awfully well on the road in the last series, and I think Quebec's a good enough team to maybe make this series a little longer than you think.
It's debatable whether playing in Montreal is on the road for the Quebec Nordiques anymore.
That's true, and also the Canadians didn't have the home ice record that the Philadelphia Flyers have, unbeaten in now 21 games at home.
Do you get the feeling the Oilers are pulling slightly, or not so slightly for the Nordiques, the trouble that Philadelphia's given Edmonton this year?
I don't think the Oilers are in a position where they have to dodge anybody. Edmonton Oiler fans are pulling for the Quebec Nordiques because the Oilers swept the Nordiques, whereas they didn't beat the Flyers once this year. So obviously the fans would like the Oilers to play the Nordiques, but I think Edmonton's prepared to play anybody.
You've checked on the injury to Steve Ludzik, not what Chicago needs, another injury. What's the report?
Well, Steve Ludzik apparently got a knee or a skate in the back, experienced back spasms, but they expect him to be back for the 3rd period.
Okay, the Hawks down a goal. Let's now go up to Don Whitman.
And indeed, Steve Ludzik is back for this 3rd period. The 2nd period saw the teams trade goals, Sutter and Melnick. The Oilers with a slight edge in shots on goal, just 1 penalty. Jerome Dupont going off late in the period. He still has 1:12 to serve in the 3rd period. There is Steve Ludzik, the man we were talking about. Dave Hodge referred to him. It looks as though he will be playing in the 3rd.
Yes, he certainly will. And let me remind you that this program is copyright and is strictly for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction, retransmission, distribution, or exhibition in whole or in part without the express consent of the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation is strictly prohibited.
John Davidson, you've been keeping an eye on Troy Murray and the shadow job he has applied to Wayne Gretzky. It's interesting that through 40 minutes tonight, Gretzky has not had a shot on goal.
Well, there's a lot of nights you see Wayne Gretzky not get many shots on goal, but he also moves the puck so well he sets up other goals. He does have the 1 assist tonight. And I think that you'll see Edmonton go basically with the 3 lines this period and maybe try different left wingers with Wayne Gretzky, as Murray has done a pretty good job. Troy Murray's done actually a real good job against Gretzky. You remember last season that Troy Murray had the same kind of a shadow job on Wayne Gretzky, and Gretzky scored in the last few seconds to keep that point streak going that he had. There's Jerome Dupont. He has 1 minute and 12 seconds remaining in his penalty for interference, as he got that towards the end of the 2nd period.
Well, this is a position that the Oilers like to be in. They have a tendency to wear down teams, and I think the pace was very quick as far as the Blackhawks were concerned.
And look at this lineup for the power play. Anderson on the left side, Messier at center, and Gretzky on the wing, along with Huddy and Coffey. Interesting the way Sather starts this 3rd period on the power play.
Here's Messier across the line, trying to go around Wilson. Picked up in the corner by Gretzky for Messier. Messier back to the point for Coffey. Coffey to Messier. To Gretzky. Gretzky waits. Tried to backhand it over a sprawled Murray Bannerman, but the puck was knocked down and cleared.
Fortunately, I believe, for Murray Bannerman taking a bit of a chance there. The Oilers, you can't start being too aggressive, or they'll just go around you and put it in.
Coffey falls as he comes across the line. The puck going to the line, but not out. Gretzky winds up a shot right on, and Murray Bannerman, who has played an outstanding game tonight, makes the save.
Well, he certainly challenged Gretzky in that play through a screen, and I think it's very important that Bannerman has to shut the gate, not allow any goals against, and hopefully his team can come back.
15 seconds remaining in the penalty for Anderson. Anderson, a shot off the side of the net. Coffey racing in from the point, centered it, and it's cleared by Chicago. 3 seconds remaining in the penalty, and now Jerome Dupont is back on the ice. So the Chicago Blackhawks have successfully killed off that penalty. Gretzky working against Ben Wilson. Gretzky trying to play it back to the line, intercepted and fed ahead to Secord. Secord is upset as it came in. It was going to be a penalty to the Edmonton Oilers, Willie Lindstrom. And now Melnick and Secord do some post-whistle shoving in the corner.
You know, Secord was not going to get a penalty originally as Lindstrom was going to get it. He was back-checking, caught Secord with a high stick, but Secord slapped back at Lindstrom, and I would not be surprised if he gets a penalty too.
This is the Lawn Boy Supreme, powered by an engine designed to last 50% longer than most other lawnmower engines. This Lawn Boy can do the work of 5 lawnmowers. It cuts, side bags, rear bags, mulches. It'll even shred leaves. Summer after summer, year after year, the hard-working 5-in-1 lawnmower by Lawn Boy. Lawn Boy. As time goes by, you'll know why.
Secord does not get a penalty. Randy Gregg gets the holding penalty. We can see it here as he pulls down Gardner. Perhaps that's where it was. Now, Lindstrom after that, he came up with a high stick on Secord, but they caught that before Chicago broke out of the zone. Chicago with a great chance to tie it up.
Now the penalty taking place well behind the play on Randy Gregg. And now the loose puck in the Edmonton zone. They fight for it. Larmer trying to poke it loose, but it was deflected by Melnick out into the center ice area. Now Savard in across the line. Savard waiting into the corner for Secord. Secord tied up by Kevin Lowe. Yari Curry also comes in. Secord gets it again for Larmer. Larmer behind the net for Savard. Savard having problems. Gets it to Secord. Quick shot. The save by Fuhr. The puck goes to the corner. Secord plays it around the boards to Bob Murray at the point. He flips it back to the net, centered by Savard. Nobody in position, and it's clear.
Now the Blackhawks had good penetration, good forechecking, but by the aggressive forechecking the Edmonton Oilers, they caused the turnover. They don't give you a chance to set up. They're constantly moving at the puck carrier.
Doug Wilson with 45 seconds remaining in the penalty to Randy Gregg. Shoots it in. Troy Murray along the boards with Darryl Sutter. Sutter finally gets it back to the point for O'Callaghan. Back for Tom Lysiak. Lysiak can't do anything with it, and it's knocked down the front, intercepted by Murray for Sutter. Sutter tried to deflect it, and it went wide. Back to the line now for Doug Wilson. His shot knocked down in front. Lysiak back to the line. Wilson with his shot. It's wide. O'Callaghan keeps it in at the point. Troy Murray fighting with Charlie Huddy in the corner. Paul Coffey and Sutter also come in. They take it to the boards. And the penalized player, Randy Gregg, steps back onto the ice just as the whistle blows.
Now, JD, all that pressure, not one shot on net. That told you the defense of the Edmonton Oilers, how they're able to cover up and really do an excellent job of penalty killing.
Exactly the point. The Edmonton Oilers spent a lot of time on their new telestrator machine they have in their dressing room with a big screen, and they go over the specialty teams of the opposition. They've done a pretty good job. Look at the Blackhawks. They send 3 guys in when the puck was shot around the boards. Now the puck is there, but they can't control it very well. The Edmonton team doing a pretty good job here, but you can see how they outnumber Edmonton on that side of the ice. by one man and try and control it. And that's the theory of Roger Nielsen. Shoot the puck in around the boards where that puck goes behind the net to the other side. Send 2 or 3 people in there immediately. Try and outnumber the opposition on the power play and control it. But Edmonton did a pretty good job penalty killing.
Quickly with a shot, Kurt Fraser off the leg, and it went wide. Centered, nobody there. Back at the point, Bergevin has it poked by him. Messier breaking in. Messier tried to go around Murray, couldn't get a shot away. Now Chicago playing it down the ice into the Edmonton zone. Going back after it is Randy Gregg producing an icing call against Chicago. 16:05 is the time left in the third period. The Oilers lead by 1.
Hey there, laddie. Now there's an easier way. With press and place caulk from 3M. Just unroll, press in place, and remove liner.
Hey, that looks great.
Aye, and no mess. And press and place caulk will last for 20 years. Our 3M will replace it free.
Wanna buy a used caulking gun?
Build a $5 rebate. Details found in specially marked packages of 3M press and place caulk.
Now, talking to John Muckler today, he said, we just haven't gotten enough credit for the way we've played in defense. And we really separate our game in 3 areas. In the offensive zone, the more pressure we put in the offensive zone, the less time teams are going to spend in our zone. Between the blue lines, that's where we really stop a concentrated attack going. That's where we shut them down. And in our zone, we try to force shots from outside and really lock in that slot area, protect that area, and get guys from in front of the net.
Well, Muckler's a very good technical hockey man. I asked him if he was going to move on to another team. He said he hasn't really settled with his new contract in Edmonton, but he's not going to go anywhere. He's going to stay with the Edmonton Oilers, and he put a lot of rumors to rest, I would have to say.
He said he will be coaching the team next year if Glenn Sather steps down. Puck comes out for Hughes. He couldn't get a shot away as he was racing into the slot. Hughes fighting in the corner for that puck along with Wilson. Wilson gets it out, and now it's Ludzik coming down the right side. Ludzik back to the line. Shot by Wilson, and Fuhr got a piece of that one. Now it's Kozar breaking out of his own zone, working against Jerome Dupont. Kozar shot saved by Murray Bannerman.
Dupont went right after Kozar after the shot was taken by the Czechoslovakian towards the goaltender Bannerman. Kozar played that pretty smartly. He came down and cut into the middle and got a shot directed towards the net. Now Dupont was the only defenseman back. It was a one-on-one. Now Kozar's a left-handed shot. Create a better angle towards the goaltender, so he goes to his left. And there's a sort of a tricky shot, actually, in the midsection, an easy save. But Dupont continued with the play and took Kozar into the boards pretty good.
John, from a forward position, as long as that defenseman keeps backing in, you're just going to let him back in. And then when the time is right, you try to either shoot it through his legs or just past his legs, setting up the screen.
Good save here by Grant Fuhr on Ben Wilson. Wilson actually snaps his puck quickly just after he got control. Look at the style of Fuhr. He's out above that goal crease. And the thing about him that's been so great for Grant Fuhr is he's really been set when the opposition's been taking shots. In the past, he's been moving out, not set. In this game, you can see he's doing the job really well.
15:27 left in the third. From the face-off, O'Callaghan is taken it against the boards by Hunter. Puck in among their skates. Lysiak comes in there. And the players fall in the corner, forcing another face-off.
Well, there's another guy that can gain the blue line for you. You know, when you talk about the strengths of the Chicago Blackhawks, Lysiak, that 9-year veteran, knows how to make the plays. He can gain the blue line for you, and then he's always looking for his wingers coming late. Has the ability to set up that good passing play.
Quick shot by Kevin Lowe. Hit a player in front and is deflected out into the center ice area. Doug Wilson pokes it on into the Edmonton zone as Kevin Lowe goes back after. Kevin Lowe took a lot of good-natured needling from his teammates after that 11-2 game the other night. He was the only Edmonton Oiler who was on the minus side in the plus-minus category. He was a -1. Here's Willie Lindstrom. Going back to the net. He leaves it there. O'Callaghan got to it. Unable to clear it, though. Vogelin races in. McClellan back to the net, tied up by O'Callaghan. Now Lysiak comes in as well. against Kevin Lowe. Takes a shot off Lowe to the corner. Remchuk gets it again. He centered it, but Lowe was there to pick it off. And the Edmonton defenseman starts back as the Oilers make a line change. Drop pass for Messier. Messier, quick shot. And a pad save by Murray Bannerman. Messier almost poked it away from the Chicago player Olchek in his own zone, but it was deflected out and down into the Edmonton territory. Now it's Messier trying it again. Messier being bothered by Savard, dumped it into the corner. Racing back after it is Bob Murray. Murray, lead pass too far for Savard. It goes all the way back into the Edmonton zone, producing an icing call against the Chicago Blackhawks with 13:42 left in the third.
Top guns at Midas have been in the muffler business for 25 years in Canada. We're celebrating our silver anniversary with the Great Quicksilver Giveaway. You could get a fistful of silver off your muffler job, just like that. Maybe even get it done free. And you could win up to $25,000 in silver. But you gotta be fast like a top gun, because the Midas Quicksilver Giveaway isn't gonna last forever.
Murray Bannerman having a lot of trouble with his goal pads. They've got a screwdriver there, and what happens is a strap is attached to the front of the goal pad that goes around the skate blade and over to the other side of the goal pad to keep the front and bottom part of the pad attached to the front of the skate. And there's a nut and bolt there, and obviously that's come loose, and they've gotten a screwdriver out right now. He tried to go over to the bench, but the referee would not allow him to do that. So this is something he's getting repaired there. I would think that if it was a tactic to slow the game down a little bit, he would have undone his strap or maybe pulled around with his goal mask or something. But when the nut and bolt come out from that part of your goal pad, that can really set the balance off from that goal pad, and it can be a serious problem.
Well, in conversation with Bob Pulford, he wanted to slow down the game because that's the strength of the Edmonton Oilers, is to skate all night. And at times, the Blackhawks want to slow it down, disrupt their flow.
3-2, the Oilers lead, 13:37 left in the third. Anderson for Messier. Messier back to Anderson. Anderson is spun around. Messier picks it up and plays it back at the net. O'Callaghan and Napier fight for it along the boards. And finally, they force another face-off.
You know, fellas, Chicago are trying to take the body a lot more during this hockey game, and they have succeeded, I believe, but they're not a punishing type of a hockey team. They don't get out and get those big, solid body checks like a Messier would throw, but they've certainly tried to impede the progress of the Oilers, and I think they've pretty well succeeded, and that's been the main difference in this hockey game compared to the first one.
Ball Coffey for Huddy. He winds up a shot right off. Coffey gets it again. Another shot. It's deflected wide. And Secord fires it down the ice. There will be no icing call as Grant Fuhr is forced to make the play. Savard is spun around in the corner by Huddy. Larmer comes in there as well. Now along the boards, Anderson attempting to get out. Oh, it comes right in front of the net. Shades of the series with the Winnipeg Jets, where Messier cut in front of his own goal and almost put it in, although he had control of the puck that time. Now it's Anderson for Coffey. Coffey is tied up. Anderson has it for Messier. A shot, and it hit the post. Bannerman got a piece of it, but the puck deflected off his pad and up against the post. Picked off by Gretzky. Gretzky tried to slide it to Anderson. It went between his legs, and now Secord starts back with 12:19 left in the third period. Long shot gloved by Fuhr.
You can see that the Oilers have really picked up the pace, and they're really motoring right now, and the Blackhawks are hanging on for dear life.
Krushelnyski with his back turn took a check from Murray. Now he dodges a check from Bergevin. And it's dumped up along the boards into the neutral zone.
Edmonton are just going basically with the three lines. Again, Krushelnyski up on the wing with Gretzky, and that makes them go a little bit more offensively when they go to three lines.
Bergevin, the rookie, dumping it into the Edmonton zone. Melnick has it with 11:42. Ahead to Krushelnyski. Krushelnyski drops it for Gretzky to Curry. He scores!
You keep letting a team come at you,
keep backing in. You notice how the Blackhawks backed in, but there's a three-way passing play. And once Curry has got the puck and has time to do with it, he can find the corners, and he did exactly that. As Bannerman's going down, he just slips it high. You notice that Bannerman had committed himself, and Curry slipped it high underneath the crossbar.
You know, it's so hard to defend the Edmonton Oilers when they come over the blue line and they use that crisscrossing pattern. Krushelnyski went to one side, Gretzky to the other side, and everybody got mixed up on the Blackhawk team. And of course, you said it, Gary, Bannerman gambled a bit on the play, lost the gamble. It was a super shot though by Curry.
Troy Murray shooting it into the corner. Gretzky and Krushelnyski drawing assists on the 10th goal of the playoffs by Finnish star Jari Kurri. That goal coming at 8:26, 4-2. Edmonton now in front. Here's the chance for Fraser. He centered it, and it's picked off by Kevin Lowe. Did a good job of getting back into that slot area.
See, Troy Murray had an opportunity of going for the net there on that pass out from the corner by the Blackhawks, but he elected to stay back and stay with Gretzky. I think now's the time they've got to open it up because they're 2 goals down. They can't afford to really play defensive hockey.
Paul Coffey for Charlie Huddy. What an effective combination in the playoffs this has been for Edmonton as Lindgren takes the pass offside at the blue line. Stanley Cup 85 on CBC is coming to you from Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton.
To myself, sweet nothing. Molson Canadian, taste that'll stop you cold.
10:40 remaining in the third. 4-2, the Oilers lead it. Ben Wilson dumps it down the ice. Going back after it is Coffey. This will produce an icing call.
Well, the ultra slow motion camera has certainly been an added attraction that everybody has enjoyed, and you can see by this play from behind the net how the Oilers crisscross, and when Gretzky and Curry get together, they make things happen and they do it right, and it's the ability to get in the opening, and when the opportunity is there on a pass, they execute and put it in.
We could talk about Bannerman gambling on that play, but did you see where that shot went? I mean, that was as close as inside the goalpost as you're going to get. That was basically a perfect shot.
Again, the puck dumped down the ice for another icing call against Chicago as it's touched by Charlie Huddy. Hockey night in Canada and the Stanley Cup playoffs. The tradition continues.
Taste that'll stop you cold.
10:20 remaining in the third. 4-2, the Oilers in front. 2 goals tonight by Jari Kurri. Lysiak against McClellan. Lysiak got the draw behind his own net to the rookie Bergevin. Bergevin, Montreal native, who played with Chicoutimi, a third-round draft choice in 1983. Getting it ahead to Yaremchuk. Yaremchuk is tied up by Charlie Huddy, and it's dumped up along the boards back to the center ice area. Coming into this game, that combination of Huddy and Coffey. A blue line pairing for the Oilers, a +41. Here's a chance for McClellan. Save, first puck in front, and it's cleared to the boards. McClellan gets it again. Unable to get the shot away as he tried to move into position. But he walked right in on Bannerman, and Bannerman has played an outstanding game tonight in goal for the Blackhawks. Penalty coming up against the Oilers as Lysiak dumps it in. Yaremchuk was upset in the center ice area, and the Blackhawks will go to the power play with 9:21 remaining in the third period.
Look, Blue, everybody switching to Bridgestone.
Proven performers, Don.
Great selection. Quality all-season radials. Smooth riding, durable, and they're made for tough Canadian roads.
Oh, Don, no bones about it.
Look, Blue, we could win this beautiful Ford Thunderbird.
You got style, Don.
Real style, Don. Blue, the switch is on to Bridgestone.
Now that's something to bark about.
Well, as far as the Blackhawks are concerned, it's a must on the power play as Willie Lindstrom draws the penalty. There you see it from behind as McClellan gets caught. Kerry Fraser behind. And all of a sudden, McClellan plays like Wayne Gretzky. Look at that dippy-doodle there, and Bannerman makes an excellent save.
That time he didn't gamble at all. He just stayed in there and made McClellan take the shot. A good save, but McClellan showing some pretty good hands.
It was nice to watch.
You bet.
Well, McClellan was one of the key performers last year for the Oilers in their drive to the Stanley Cup. He has had some problems with injuries during the course of this season. Doug Wilson into the corner. Centered for Secord. Quick release. He was partially tied up by Melnick. Back to Wilson. A shot. It bounces wide of the net. Melnick playing it around on the boards for Gretzky. He breaks out with Messier. Gretzky drop pass. Messier into the slot. And he took a shot off Secord's stick. Gretzky gets it again. He tried to center it, and it was knocked down by Bannerman.
No, and I think he tried to bank that in off the back of the goaltender's pad. That's how tricky Wayne Gretzky is.
We've seen him do that before.
Messier back of the net for Randy Gregg. Gregg dumps it ahead now for Gretzky. Gretzky working against Gardner. A shot and a glove save by Bannerman. He had Gretzky all over him, and he brought it up to the blue line, and a whistle on the play. There's going to be a penalty, I believe, to Murray Bannerman, who took a swipe at Wayne Gretzky as he was way out of his net.
You know, I was surprised when Wayne Gretzky had a one-on-one against Gardner that he wouldn't try and beat him because the forward is back playing defense. He elected to shoot, and you see the quickness of Bannerman grabbing hold. Now Bannerman wants to play forward, get it up to his winger. Gretzky harasses him from behind, and watch out for the goalie stick right in front of Kerry Fraser.
Actually, it was Bannerman that was holding on to Gretzky's stick at the time. Bannerman trying to do it all himself, but this really doesn't help his hockey club. He made a super save off of Wayne Gretzky. That's the most spark I've seen Gretzky show all during this entire hockey game. When he was killing that penalty, he was doing a good job. If Bannerman gets the slashing penalty, it has to be somebody that was on the ice at the time that has to serve it for Murray Bannerman. It looks like Steve Larmer's gone over to serve the slashing penalty. That negates the power play for the Blackhawks. Bannerman goes from making a great save to negating their own team's power play.
Must be very frustrating for Pulford and the coaching staff of the Blackhawks to come up with the effort that they have tonight and still be 2 goals behind. And that really shows you the talent that the Oilers have. They can play any kind of game, any way you want to play, they will accommodate you.
So with both teams a man short now, maybe Dennis Savard can use his skating to his advantage. He realizes that his game is skating. He says he's basically a useless hockey player if he's not using his greatest asset. Again, that skating. We'll see now with some open ice whether he uses it or whether the Oilers allow him to use it.
Well, so far the Oilers have shut down the Blackhawks' most productive line. That's centered by Dennis Savard with Secord and Larmer on the wings. And Larmer is serving that slashing penalty to Murray Bannerman. Krushelnyski works to the corner. Has it taken away by Ben Wilson. In 40 seconds, the Oilers will have a man advantage. 7:56 is the time remaining in the third period. Secord along the boards, tried to fire it back to the net. It deflected into the crowd.
It was interesting going down the right side. Savard was trying to get away from Yari Curry, and Curry just crossed over with him, stayed right with him, and really nullified Savard for any attempt that he would have at getting that puck.
You know, when you have 2 teams playing like this, Chicago and Edmonton, you look at matchups. Krushelnyski played with Denny Savard Jr. with the junior Canadians in Montreal. And that's not a bad pair of centermen to have on a junior team, Denny Savard and Mike Krushelnyski. But 2 years later, you're playing against each other. You know a lot about each other's talents. Gretzky now, here's something I like to watch. Both teams a man short. Gretzky with the open ice. He's really had the spark here in the third period.
Watch him hang around center ice.
Doug Wilson Back into the center ice area. Lead pass off Ed Olczyk. He couldn't quite control it at the blue line. Now, Gretzky gets it ahead for Jari Kurri. He puts on the brakes behind his back looking for Gretzky. However, Gretzky had not yet started out of his own zone. These two work so well together, just throwing that puck around. Pass at the line for Bob Murray. It was offside.
Don, and watching that last play, that's pretty much a set play with Chicago. Murray's a defenseman, but he stayed up by that Edmonton blue line, and he got the puck and in turn put it across to the wingers flying up the ice, and it almost worked. Eddie Olczyk, the youngest player in the league this year, he's a big baseball fan. He's from the Chicago area, and he's a big Chicago Cub fan. And one of his main concerns today was the fact that the Dodgers whipped his Cubs last night. He's upset about that. Got a nice, good character, Eddie Olczyk. He's going to be a fine player with this club. Big guy, too.
And in 2 seconds, the Oilers will go to the power play. Willie Lindstrom now out of the penalty box. Loose puck in the corner. Gardner and Coffey tying each other up. 44 seconds remaining in the slashing call to Murray Bannerman. Messier overskated it as he came out of his own zone. And it's picked up by Patterson. Patterson shoots it down the ice. 6:58 remaining in the third.
Again, it's Paul Coffey that normally retreats behind his own net, and in one stride, he's in full motion.
Coffey drives it into the Chicago zone. Messier skated past it, anticipating that it would come back to the point, but there was a Chicago player there to knock it down and shoot it to center. Coffey, lead pass too far for Anderson, and it produces an icing call against Edmonton.
Glenn Anderson scoring again during this hockey game. That gives him 6 in the playoffs. Again, $1,000 every time he scores a goal goes to the Cancer Fund here in the Edmonton area on behalf of the Glenn Anderson Foundation. And he's excited about it. Every time I see him during a practice or whatever, he says, gotta get another one tonight, get the fun going. Just seems to come alive in the playoffs himself, especially against the Blackhawks.
I was just going to say, John, he has feasted on the Blackhawks, hasn't he?
There's a guy that's feasted against everybody tonight. He's had a super game. Mark Messier, he's really used his size and his strength along with his speed. He gets it going, and I really have to admire the work ethic of Mark Messier. He just is all work when it comes to hockey this time of year.
They have a lot of guys that lead by example.
Bergevin with a shot and deflected off Coffey and almost went in. Rather harmless looking shot wide of the net, and Paul Coffey almost deflected it off the post behind Grant Fuhr, who was out of position. Pass intercepted at the line by Anderson. Anderson trying to get it in front to Napier. Knocked down by Chicago. Messier has it now. Messier turning in the corner for Anderson. Anderson back to the line. Charlie Huddy couldn't control it, and then Larmer overskated it as the Blackhawks are back at full strength, and it's fired in offside. From Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton, this is Stanley Cup 85 on CBC.
Watch out. It's coming. You're about to get hit with another big cooling bill.
Why live in fear of sky-high summer cooling bills? Move up with Dave Lennox to the Power Saver air conditioner. Its 2-speed compressor runs on low speed 90% of the time, cutting your cooling bills nearly in half.
Atta boy, Dave!
Start saving money. Give your Lennox dealer a call. He's in the yellow pages.
Well, 5:56 is the time remaining, and if the Edmonton Oilers maintain this advantage over the Chicago Blackhawks, it will be their 12th consecutive playoff victory. And for Edmonton, that would be a Stanley Cup record, the old mark of 11. 3 times by the Montreal Canadiens, once by the Boston Bruins. And Wilson shoots it in. Picked up there by Yaremchuk. He tried to get it back to the line to Wilson, but it was deflected out to the center ice area. Dumped back in again by Lysiak, but Chicago was offside.
Yaremchuk trying to get things going. The Chicago Blackhawks took the body a couple of times. You can see Edmonton trying to react to it. Now there was a shift, just during that last shift, Yaremchuk went across the ice and took a run at one of the Edmonton players. on the opposite side of the ice. Here we can see he and Melnyk going at it. And McClellan and Yaremchuk. There's where Yaremchuk goes right across the ice and takes a run at Melnyk, or excuse me, at McClellan. McClellan not too happy with the play. You know, these Edmonton Oilers have really done a job as far as their goals against go. During the regular season, they gave up 3.68 a game. In the playoffs going into this game, down more than a goal to 2.48, and that's the best of anybody in the playoffs going into tonight's contest.
You know, looking at the Oilers in the playoffs, they certainly have cut down the scoring chances against.
Okay.
That certainly wasn't the case in the LA series, but Winnipeg and here against the Blackhawks, the good scoring opportunities just hasn't been there. Talking to Chief Scout Barry Fraser, he mentioned that in Game 1, they held the Blackhawks to 8 good scoring chances in the game, and that's really excellent.
The penalties have been handed out by Kerry Fraser. Yaremchuk gets 2 minutes for high sticking. Melnyk gets 2 minutes for roughing. So both teams play a man short.
5:21 is the time remaining in the third. 4-2. The Oilers lead the Blackhawks. Game 2 of this Campbell Conference Final. 11-2 was the score Saturday night in Game 1. And Olczyk, good move to work in on Fuhrer. Unable to get a shot away. The puck bounces high, and it's dumped down the ice by Edmonton. Pretty good move by young Ed Olczyk there as he tried to waltz in on Fuhrer.
Well, he's got great offensive skills, and talking to the coaches, he said, again, he's improving every single game. He is very effective in open ice. If he has a problem, it's controlling the puck around the boards.
Oh, a backhand pass for Olczyk. Just got away from him, or he was alone on Grant Fuhrer.
Well, there you saw Fuhrer fire the puck out of harm's way. He uses a curved blade on his goal stick, and he can get that puck up quite a bit. Murray Bannerman does not. There you see the curve on that goal stick on the blade. Grant Fuhrer is actually known as a pretty good puck handler. Much better, they say, than Andy Moog, the backup goaltender for the Edmonton Oilers. Speaking of Moog, they did say today that he feels real fine with as far as his knees go. He was wearing 2 braces, 1 per knee. They've taken 1 away. He's just down to the 1 brace, and he said if he could play, he would, but no sense in stepping in there the way Grant Fuhrer's been playing. There's Andy Moog, spectator for this game.
There's a chance for Chicago as Savard moved into the slot, and Fuhrer gloved that high drive.
Well, it's not too often Mark Messier is going to let the other centerman sneak away from you. We'll watch how Grant Fuhrer makes the big save. Look at Messier. He's turned right the opposite direction. But there he lets Savard go. Savard just knows where that net is without even looking, and Grant Fuhrer had to come up with a real quick save. We talk about goaltenders with quick hands in the National Hockey League. Grant Fuhrer could have the quickness as far as the catching glove goes. Good reaction there.
You know, defensively, the responsibility of the centerman is to stay with Savard. So once Messier loses the puck, he should have stayed with him. He won't make that mistake again.
Well, I don't think he's used to losing faceoffs. Once the puck got away with him, he maybe was stunned for a second. It didn't go right at Savard. Watch Messier when he turns his body here to cheat on the faceoff. Look at that.
Still 1:04 remaining in the minor penalties. Secor knocked down at the side of the net as he attempted to spin around, and here comes Paul Toffey. Messier catching up with the play, gets the pass over to Lindstrom to Toffey. What a little passing play. Gretzky setting up Toffey.
Look at the reaction of that Edmonton bench, and you have to smile because this is some sort of password. One thing about this, Gary, is it's such a great play. It's hard to defend, but watch O'Callaghan, the defenseman on the left of the picture here. He moves over to the other side. Look at that. And that leaves the ice wide open, and Edmonton just moved it around and tic-tac-toe to the net. Now watch this high-angle view. Watch how O'Callaghan moves over towards Ben Wilson, and that causes the problem. And then Edmonton, they get that open ice. Nobody's going to stop them.
And one thing about the Oilers, though, when they get those good chances, they know how to execute. They know how to put the pass right on the stick, how to control it, and then they normally deposit it behind the goal line. And that's really the difference between the Oilers and a lot of other teams. Give them a chance, they'll put it in.
And it's good. You see how quick those guys move the puck around. They didn't stop the puck, take a look, and then move it. It was bing, bing, bing. Boy, just like a pinball. That's great to watch.
And done at high speed.
Oh, boy.
Gretzky and Messier drawing the assists on the goal by Coffey. Now it's Anderson coming out with Messier. Stopped at the line with 3:56 left. in the third period. 5-2 now. And the Oilers look as though they will add another team record. Here's Messier moving into the slot, waiting for that pass from Anderson, but it didn't get through. Gardner across the line. He gives it to Ben Wilson. Wilson taken out of the play in the corner by Lowe. It's played around on the boards. Anderson tied up by Murray. Comes back to the point. Wilson couldn't keep it in. And the penalized players now back on the ice as McClellan kicks it out into the neutral zone. It's dumped back in offside.
Well, when a good scoring play takes place, it makes a lot of people happy, not only the fans here at Edmonton, but also the coach. And Glenn had quite a smile on his face, and this goal deserves another look. This is in the slow motion, and you can see the tic-tac-toe play. Bannerman had to gamble on the play, and of course, the pass was perfect, and it was in the net. And the reason that Sather was smiling, because as a player, he wished he would have been able to do that. Myself, too. We had the cement hands, Glenn and I.
Pass picked off. Sutter's shot. The save by Fuhr. Chicago with it again as the Blackhawks get it back to the point. O'Callaghan with a shot, and Sutter standing in front of the net, screening Grant Fuhr. Melnick was attempting to move him out of there, but the captain of the Blackhawks was standing his ground. And an icing call against Edmonton with 2:43 left in the game.
Well, it seems that records are always meant to be broken, and Paul Coffey is approaching another one. The record for a playoff year is 9 goals. That was held by Park and Bobby Orr. Right now, Paul Coffey has 8. So he needs one more, and you'll be rest assured that he will get it.
Well, he still has 2 games at least, and 243 in this series, plus another series if they should win this one.
He's got 243 left here in this game yet. You never know.
He might set a record that'll never be broken.
Secor moves in, tried to slide it across for Bob Murray. It was deflected to the corner. Coffey lays it up to the line, and it's dumped out into the neutral zone. Now Secor comes back for Chicago, and there's a penalty coming up here. And now it's DuPont and McClellan going at it.
Don, one thing about McClellan, when he gets involved with scraps, he's left-handed, and that certainly surprises a lot of people in this league. And he got the jump on that as far as the scrap goes, because he started with that left hand.
Live on CBC, this is Stanley Cup 85.
Toronto. The next time you see a beautiful car on Toronto streets, chances are it's a Ford or Mercury. Our quality is showing all over town. Ford's got the best sales increase of the big 3, better than all the Japanese imports put together. Toronto, all our 85 cars are backed by Ford's 5-year DuraGuard warranty at no extra cost.
Toronto, Toronto, we can't be outdone. At Ford, quality is job one.
Proud of me.
With 2:24 left in the third period, Kerry Fraser assessing the penalties, and here's how it all started.
Well, you see the hacking going on by McClellan as he was going after Savard, and DuPont took offense to that, going after their superstar, Denny Savard, and so he wanted to do something about it. Right now, there's a little conversation going on over the penalty box as Kerry Fraser is chatting with the 2 linesmen. He's had good control of this hockey game tonight.
Just a couple of minor skirmishes earlier in the game, and of course that one involving McClellan and DuPont. And in the game, the Oilers out-shooting the Blackhawks 35-26.
Well, the goals that have gone by Bannerman, he hasn't had much chance on them, as the execution by the Edmonton Oilers has just again been tremendous. A skilled hockey club. the way they practice, it's no wonder that they're able to do that in the game. Everything is done at high speed, and Glenn Sater talked about that this morning. All our drills are geared to putting pressure on the opposition, similar to a blitz that you would see in football.
Savard getting a 2-minute high sticking sentence. McClellan getting 2 minutes for high sticking, plus a 5-minute fighting major, and Jerome Dupont draws a 5-minute fighting major at 17:36.
Don, after the game tonight, the Blackhawks have a chartered flight that leaves for Chicago right after the game. The Edmonton Oilers will leave for Chicago sometime tomorrow morning.
And game 3 of this series takes place on Thursday night at Chicago Stadium, and you'll see the action on Hockey Night in Canada. From the face-off, Huddy forced back into his own zone by Troy Murray. He drops it off for Paul Coffey. Coffey. Pass for Yari Curry. It's deflected down the ice, so Callahan races back after it. He falls as the puck is dumped into the corner. O'Callahan gets it again and plays it to Troy Murray. Murray working out into the center ice area with 1:57 remaining. Played a shot off Huddy that goes to the corner. Murray gets it again. He tried to center it. It goes off his skate. Murray back at the net fighting with Huddy, and they tie it up along the board.
Well, it'll be very interesting to see what Bob Pulford and Roger Nielsen come up for game 3 when the scene shifts to Chicago Stadium, where there certainly will be a lot of noise. And believe me, the communication on the ice will not be there because you just can't hear yourself talking to another player. So you'll really have to depend on playing your position and looking around. Make sure that you have your man covered.
1:47 is the time left in the third period. 1:23 remaining in the minor penalties to McClelland and Savard.
The Blackhawks have called a timeout. Really isn't going to make any difference right now with the score being 5-2. Grant Fuhr talking to his players in front of the bench. But again, Don, you know, the style that the Oilers have used tonight, Blackhawks played very tight defensively. The Oilers were willing to shoot it in, going in after it. That isn't the style that they enjoy, but if an adjustment has to be made, they will do it. Kevin Lowe talking to linesmen. Something that was said had to be funny.
Well, this victory tonight for the Oilers will be their 12th straight in playoff action. And now Murray Bannerman is coming over to that Chicago bench. So the Blackhawks are pulling goaltender Murray Bannerman in favor of the extra attacker. With penalized players McClelland and Savard still with 1:23 to serve in their minors, it will be 5 skaters against 4 for the Blackhawks. Sutter in the corner trying to get it free. He does. Back to the point. Ben Wilson with a shot. Knocked down in front. Another shot. They poke away at it. Grant Fuhr has it, and now Kevin Lowe and Troy Murray do some pushing in front of that Edmonton net.
Now the Blackhawks have tried everything. They've put guys in front of Fuhr. They put them to the side looking for the deflection, and they just can't put the puck past them. But the shot was there. It was an excellent shot from the point. And from a forward standing in front, that's where you like it. Nice and low, and you see Sutter one side and Troy Murray at the other. And somehow Grant Fuhr is able to grab a hold of it. There's a short scramble. But eventually, is that Foglin that sits on top of it for the faceoff.
1:32 remaining in the game. 1:08 in the penalties. Kevin Lowe plays it around the boards, kept in by Ben Wilson for Sutter. Sutter trying to get it out front. Still has it, gets it out to Murray. A shot, the save, the rebound, they jam away, and another save by Fuhr. 3 saves by Grant Fuhr on that furious action around the Edmonton net. Back come the Hawks. Murray has his pass knocked down. It's deflected out to Messier from Gretzky. He hit the post. Messier going in on that empty Chicago net as we move into the final minute of this third period, and he hit the post. Secord comes back. Over on the wing, back to Secord as he took that return pass from Murray, unable to get a shot away. Murray slides it front, they score! Ben Wilson.
Well, you see Pulford mentioning to his troops that Bannerman will probably stay out of the net. But again, well executed the way the Blackhawks just keep outnumbering the Edmonton Oilers in that zone. And then that's a little soft pass going right to Ben Wilson, and he has an easy time of it, slipping it by Grant Fuhr. But there's that little flip pass right on the stick of Ben Wilson. And defensively, you want to have your defenseman on the outside post, and he would have been able to pick up Wilson. So at 19:22, Wilson gets his first goal of the playoffs. Well, it looked like a puck was going to go in that net as Gretzky fed Messier. He wrapped it off the post.
Murray and Secord draw assists on the goal by Ben Wilson, his fourth of the playoffs at 19:22. It's a 5-3 game. Wilson again for Secord. Secord tried to play it back to the line, intercepted by Anderson for Curry. He's got the hat trick.
Curry isn't going to make any mistake. Now watch now as the Oilers intercept the clearing pass, and it's just a bank off the boards, and immediately, as soon as Anderson had possession, Curry immediately is going to the offense, picks it up off the boards, and he makes sure it hits it right in the middle of the net. So that's his 11th goal of the playoffs. Curry from Anderson at 19:36.
And that Chicago net is still empty. And Anderson gets it again. Glenn Anderson, he scores! Seconds remaining in the third, and Anderson gets his second of the game.
Well, most players in the National Hockey League, if the net is empty, they're going to hit it. And it's not that difficult to do. And as soon as that goal was scored, immediately Bob Pulford pointed to Murray Bannerman and said, "You better get back in the net."
So it's now 7-3, an unassisted tally by Glenn Anderson. His seventh of the playoffs, his second of the game. 9 seconds remaining. The long shot cleared out to center ice by Grant Fuhr. So Glenn Anderson started the scoring tonight for Edmonton, and he finished it off as the Oilers take a 2-0 lead in games in this Campbell Conference Final.
And of course set an NHL record with their 12th consecutive victory. There, the congratulations to the Oilers and the ejection by the Chicago Blackhawks, as they were in it there for a while, but the Oilers just overpowered the Blackhawks.
The final score, Edmonton 7, Chicago 3, and our Stanley Cup playoff coverage continues in a moment.
Esso Motor Oils, tested on the longest road in the world, where the heat can fry you, or the cold freeze you solid. That road begins here at the Esso Research Center, where Esso Motor Oils are driven to the limit to give you the great engine defense you want. Efficient engine performance, longer engine life. Where does this road end? For Esso, it never does. It's coming through for you that makes us better.
And the 10th anniversary Wind Cheerio. And in acclamation of celebration, here to sing the bonus hit of the decade, the fabulous Plymouths.
6 million bonus dollars for it's a fun. Instant bonus cards and instant cash to be won. If you don't win in an instant, then the best part of all, you get to qualify for the grand bonus draw. Ooh-wee, ooh-wee.
So celebrate and don't be late. Grab your ticket today and dance.
Wind Cheerio.
Ladies and gentlemen, here are tonight's Molson 3 stars, chosen by Dick Chubay of the Edmonton Sun. Tonight's first star, from the Oilers, number 17, Yeri Curry. Tonight's second star from the Oilers with his first ever National Hockey League goal, regular season or playoff hockey, number 28, Larry Melnick. And tonight's third star for the Chicago Blackhawks, number 27, Daryl Sutter.
Well, John Davidson, I think this may almost be as disheartening, perhaps more so for the Blackhawks, to lose Game 2 after playing so well and really not come close to winning. It's almost worse than playing badly and losing by 9.
I think in this situation, the way this game was played, Dave, they stuck to their game plan pretty well. The Blackhawks did right from the first period on, but you have to look at the Edmonton Oilers with their patience and their maturity that they've started to show more so than any years past. They just did the job. They waited, took advantage of their chances, and yes, you're right. I think that Chicago are probably a lot more disheartened for this game. One thing I did see, though, was in the third period, they at least kept grinding away, got involved in some mix-ups. In the game 1, they were just invisible, and at least they showed a lot more intensity and heart tonight.
We have a Stanley Cup playoff record to report. Not that it should make any headlines, but all those empty net goals at the end set a record for the fastest 3 goals by both teams, 21 seconds. Would that bother you if you were Blackhawk to lose by 4 goals in the official count, even though you played better and had given up a couple of empty netters? Well,
maybe that last goal, maybe Bannerman should have been back in the net. I think that that would have been the right play, but basically, it doesn't matter. They realize they're in a series, and as Bob Pulford says, there's a lot of disappointments in life. We're just going to have to climb back out of the hole and give it a run at home.
The people who have Curry and Anderson in the hockey pools,
congratulations.
Pull them out all the time. That's great. All right, Hockey Night in Canada on CBC will return in just a moment.
To fully understand how Goodyear Eagle high-performance tires alter the driving experience, we urge you to read the Special Operator's Manual before you drive. The information it contains may contribute significantly to the performance of the properly equipped car. Goodyear Eagles. The tires engineered for cars with the proper qualifications.
To win at golf, you have to make all the shots. That's why this Toro is such a winner. In spring, it's a detacher. Fall, it vacuums leaves. It mulches, side discharges, or bags thick, wet grass with ease. And now, it's warranted for 2 years. It's so versatile. It'll even improve your life.
In the land of Dairy Queen.
Delicious is part of the landscape, like the Peanut Buster Parfait, layers of Spanish peanuts and hot fudge. Or the smooth delight of the Double Delight, hot fudge and butterscotch topped with crunchy pecan pieces. Or the Dairy Queen Banana Split, a fresh banana rich with the flavor of 3 tasty toppings. Come to where delicious lives.
In the land of Dairy Queen, we treat you right.
Seiko captures a golden era for women, the channeled look for uninterrupted impact. A rich weaving of opulent texture. An interlocking of elegance and style. And the brilliant touch only a diamond can give. At Seiko, great technology inspires great design. Man invented time. Seiko perfected it.
The Oilers will take a 2-game lead to Chicago Stadium for games 3 and 4. They won this one 7-3. In effect, the game winner was by Larry Melnick, his first ever in the National Hockey League, as Dave Hunter gave him the puck in a perfect position, and Murray Bannerman went down but could not prevent the goal to put the Oilers up 3-2. So this is a big night, a big moment for Larry Melnick. You can tell the grandchildren that the first ever goal in effect won an NHL Stanley Cup playoff game. Just don't tell them it took about 100 games to get it.
That's true. You know, I don't really think about scoring goals. I just try and play as well defensively as I can. And, you know, Glenn's been giving me a lot of opportunities to play, and I'm really happy about that. And, you know, for me to score, it's a great thrill, especially after that long.
Tell us how you have blended in, I mean, that's really what it is, into this team. You looked on from the sidelines basically last season, but this year is a lot different, and it has to be a lot more rewarding for you.
Yeah, I think, you know, after I got called up after my third time, I started to really feel comfortable. And, you know, Glenn and Muck and Teddy Green haven't really told me, you know, any specifics. They just say, make sure you take the man out and hit and play tough like I've been taught to. And that's just what I'm basically trying to do. And, you know, they've been helping me a lot.
Is there a tendency to play with this team and try to get too fancy because you see everybody else doing it?
No, that's not my game. You know, I just try and get the puck up as quick as possible and try not to make too many mistakes. You know, I got the guys on forward. You just give them the puck and let them skate with it.
Well, tonight you scored one, and it really was the most important goal of the night, and certainly we'll call it the most important goal of your NHL career. Okay?
All right, sure. Can I say hi to my mom and dad back home and my brother in Saskatoon?
No, we can't allow that.
Oh, how many times?
Hockey Night in Canada and the Stanley Cup playoffs on CBC return in a moment.
Doesn't it seem to you that some bank managers don't know or don't want to know what happens outside their office? At Bank of Montreal, our managers spend the busiest hours helping you bank fast.
Have a nice day, Mr. Brooks. Thank you. Quick deposit over there. No need to line up.
Oh, thanks.
It's not perfect, but it helps. And we're trying to do more.
We are doing more for you at the Bank of Montreal. It's what sets us apart.
When you buy a new car, you want to keep it looking new. And that's easy with Armor All Protectant. A scientific formula that took a polymer chemist 10 years to develop. It helps keep rubber, vinyl, leather, and plastic looking new. So even though you can't keep your car from getting old, you can keep it from looking old. Armor All. It's science, but it works like magic.
I objected to irresponsible speculation with other people's money.
What did Pioneer Trust do with millions in Western Canadian deposits? The Fifth Estate, Wednesday.
The official winning goal of this game was the fourth one. It was Jari Kurri's second of three, and it gave the Oilers a 4-2 lead to open the third period scoring that closed with a flourish, empty netters on both sides. Meanwhile, earlier tonight in the Wales Conference, the Philadelphia Flyers scored late in the second period to take a 3-0 lead, and this proved to be the winner, Ilkka Sinisalo's goal, as the Nordiques came back with two later, and the Flyers had won in the third to win it by a score of 4-2. Let's now go to Chris Cuthbert with Gary Dornhoff.
Game 3 of this series is Thursday night at the Chicago Stadium, and can that intimidating building make enough difference for the Blackhawks?
I don't think so, Chris. The Oilers played the Blackhawks a couple of years ago, and it was tough in there, you know, with the fans making all that noise, but they prevailed. I think the Oilers realize that they're going to be facing a desperate hockey club, a club that has to win both games on home ice, and the Blackhawks played good tonight. I don't know how much better they can play. You know, they could play their absolute best game and still not be able to beat the Edmonton Oilers.
Speaking of playing better, we've seen the Oilers throughout the playoffs, and they seem to get better every game.
Well, it's they're getting closer, and they can taste it. They've been there before. They know what it takes, and to each man, they have a responsibility. They know what that responsibility is, and they're taking full advantage of whatever comes their way. And they demonstrated again tonight, Chris, that whatever style you want to play, they will accommodate you.
If you're Bob Pulford, do you have game plan number 3, and what would it be?
Just go after the Oilers with everything they've got. Try to do that good, strong forechecking, disrupt them in their own end, and hope that they will not be able to withstand the pressure. But I don't know if it'll work. I kind of doubt it.
Thanks, Gary. Now let's rejoin Dave Hodge.
Here's the Chicago problem as I see it. The Blackhawks don't do anything well enough to be able to concentrate on doing that one thing and beat the Oilers by doing it as well as they can possibly do it. They don't skate well enough, score well enough, check well enough, hit well enough. And the Hawks have a big problem now. As they go home for Game 3, join us then. Good night for now from Hockey Night in Canada.
Live on CBC, Hockey Night in Canada. Brought to you by Molson, North America's oldest brewery with nearly 200 years of brewing excellence. Esso, with over 3,000 locations across Canada to serve you better. And by Ford of Canada, where quality is more than a commitment. Quality is job one. This program is protected by copyright and is intended solely for the entertainment and enjoyment of the viewing audience. Reproduction by any means, in whole or in part, without the expressed written permission of Hockey Night in Canada is prohibited.
This is CBC,